What up, man? Peace. This is Sir John Legion, Lord with the Sword, and I am also here with E-Man.
What's up, what's up?
And this is going to be our discussion review for the 2022 Batman film, which I've actually seen twice at this point, and I believe E-Man...
Seen it once, but I've also seen a couple clips just to remind myself of certain things.
So we're going to talk about some of the things that we thought about the movie. Give our thoughts and opinions. What we liked and the different performances. The characters and things like that. We're going to get into all that good stuff, and also we will be giving our rating for the film at the very end. Do we? Now this is spoilers, right?
Yeah. This is spoilers.
The
movie starts out on Halloween night. We see the Riddler looking into the window at Mayor Don Mitchell Jr., who is looking at the debate of election time.
Mm-hmm. It's election week.
Yeah, election. So there, he's looking at that. The Riddler comes up behind him and kills him. And so then we jump to the GCPD entering the apartment of the mayor, Don Mitchell Jr., and they are investigating the Riddler's riddles.
Messages
in there. And the Batman arrives to basically help out.
So they establish right away that the Riddler is the main villain or the main antagonist for Batman in this film. And so he's basically on this murdering spree of killing, key political figures in Gotham, and Batman is forced to, investigate the city's hidden corruption, which is widespread. But of course, it's Gotham. We knew it would be, but and also while doing that, he ends up questioning his family's involvement, because there is, in a very subtle way, the Riddler and Bruce are somewhat linked, but not.
I think it's supposed to be like a comparison type.
Okay, yeah,
It's definitely supposed to be a comparison thing. We'll get into that when we talk about their characters per se.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be a comparison about them both being orphans.
Yeah. So
on different spectrums of the orphan range, I guess.
Yeah. So we will get to the performances, and specifically right before we get into how we felt about Pattinson's take as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I can't remember if I asked you this early on, but I did want to know how. I'll let you go first. How did you feel about the film overall? Before we get into the spoilers, how did you get into the film overall? Yeah, and
overall. Okay, so
and again, look, what were your expectations, and how did you feel about it? Because I'm gonna get mine too. But go ahead.
So my expectations. We did have a review, not review, but kind of like a discussion somewhat about the Batman film.
Yeah, it was about Pattinson, not. Whether or not he was lazy because he got sent home because he
wasn't
meeting.
The
workout regimens, and that he had lost weight, and so we covered that, and we kind of saw that. I know I did. We saw that as a red flag. Okay, how dedicated is this guy?
Yeah, so that was my impression going into it. I was like, "Yo, Robert, I don't want you to mess this up because I love Batman, and I'm so excited for this film." And just hearing those things coming into play before the movie came out, I was like, "Oh gosh, it's gonna be a disaster." But then when I finally seen the movie, I really enjoyed it. I really think they did a great job interpreting the Batman in this newer way, especially since we've had in past iterations, he's more of an action-packed kind of film. And in this one, it's more detective Batman solving the case, going through that little aspect.
Yeah, this was more so than any other Batman. This was detective Batman. Yeah. This wasn't so much an action film. This was mystery, essentially. It was a mystery thriller with action elements in it, but it's
whole way through you're asking the questions like, oh, so who's the rat? Who's this? Who's that? Like, it's the whole, like, figuring out these, peeling back the onion layers, the whole way.
I actually think, I know our boy Aiden, I know he's not really into comic book films, but he did say he does like mystery and thriller films. I actually think he would have enjoyed this.
He would have loved this.
I think he would have. But go ahead.
So I have also played the Arkham games, all of them in my past, and going to this film, it felt like playing one of those games while watching the film. And I can say, without a doubt, that is what I love about those Arkham games. You're Batman solving the crime, and watching a movie where you're doing the same thing, it was so enjoyable. And I think for the length it wasn't a bad length. They had just the amount of time to get everything.
3 hours.
it fleshed out enough. Everyone got their own little spotlight of the moment, and they did a great job just kind of making the story flow. Like what you mentioned about them not having any flashbacks. That is just like something you don't see in movies nowadays.
Yeah. There were in comparison to the Nolan films, and I know this isn't. Obviously, this film was directed by Reeves. Obviously, we're far removed from. Well, not far removed, but this isn't Chris Nolan's Batman. It's Matt Reeves' Batman. But there will be. I'm subject to reference Nolan's films, but that's just me. So because I love it so much and it's still fresh on my mind. But I digress. Okay, so for me, my expectations. So it takes a certain type of person to be able to sit through a 3-hour film, but the thing is, me and you, we're comic book fans, and I think the majority of people, this is a Batman film. So I think people who are Batman fans and fans of comics, I don't think they wouldn't have a problem watching this type of film, even though this is a much different take of Batman than we have seen from the past. Like I said, this was more so detective Batman. And now, the one thing I will say is that just like, the Nolan movies and more so than the other, and Burton to a degree, The Dark is obviously, this is a very dark film, all the way from the lighting to how the camera used shadows and things like that. Very much it had color, but it was very much a noir film, which I really loved about that. I love that take because that fits the Batman feel persona. That fits Gotham, the persona of Gotham to a T. That definitely worked for me. The principal characters, I feel like they all brought it. We'll get into them individually, but yeah, looking back at it, because I saw it twice, to me, nobody gave a bad performance. Everybody was just on their A game, man.
I think I
thought yes,
everyone took it very seriously.
Right.
They came in there prepared to do the work and showed out with the work.
And also this, I don't know, did this sort of feel like as grounded as I felt the Nolan films felt, especially that first one, Batman Begins? To me, this film in particular felt even more grounded.
Yeah.
Even more like as realistic. I mean, there was a lot of realism. I felt that Nolan's Batman movies brought a very realistic take, but I thought this one was brought an even more realistic take. Like Batman he's almost stripped of even seeming like I almost seem like he could exist in today's world. I mean, yeah, there's a statute of limitations, but yeah, I was surprised at how grounded it was, and I guess what I was saying is there's no superhero element to this particular Batman film.
We'll get into that, but I don't think in these future films they're going to have that are going to touch it to any of the more fantastical.
I don't think either.
Like I'm not seeing Poison Ivy joined it at all. Maybe Mr. Freeze, but I think they said they were casting for. But he doesn't feel like someone that should be a part of that because his weapons and gadgets are so much more like doesn't really exist out here. Like people just got. Freeze He's just chilling.
The thing about so they bring up that Robert Pattinson, of course, who's playing Bruce Wayne, Batman, that he has been doing this it's been 2 years. So he started 2 years ago, and this is by far the youngest adaptation of Bruce Wayne that we've ever received in any.
Besides Kid Batman, one appearance.
Right. But this is very much so early 20s Batman, I said I think they brought elements from Batman Year One, which is who I think that's probably if we're talking which series or which particular Batman they adapted from the most as far as the template. If I'm talking about what template they want to use, I believe it's Year One Batman. Even though it's been 2 years, but this is Batman in his experimental
bare bones.
Bare bones. It's not Nolan where he doesn't have all the his gadgets aren't nearly as refined at this point in his superhero career as they were where in Nolan's film it was he was well into his. Even in Batman Begins, he was in his mid to late 30s.
He was not old, but he was low in age. Experienced. He knows all the ins and outs of this stuff.
Right.
This one, you felt he was learning. You felt like
his experiment. He was definitely still in the experimental stages, and that alone makes this a unique take of Batman. As far as if we're talking cinematically, that alone makes it a unique take. And also. Okay, so let's get into how we felt about the Bruce Wayne versus Batman.
Okay.
Our interpretations of both of those. So first of all, overall, I thought Pattinson, excellent as Batman.
He did a great Batman
as Batman, and even though, and I'll get into why I didn't think his Bruce Wayne. I didn't think his take on Bruce Wayne, or I didn't like it as much as I liked his interpretation of Batman, because again, two different entities, of course, playing two different people.
I want to like just bring this up of the people that have seen the movie and know about this. It's a spoiler review, so you've got to see the movie to hear this. But during the funeral scene, when he is walking throughout the place and he's like walking, looking at everybody, kind of like gazed eyes and everything. Of course, you're supposed to be. He's looking out for the Riddler. He's looking for anybody who might be looking suspicious. But for Bruce Wayne, he's normally very like cool, collective, and looks very friendly. Even if he's not friendly, he looks like someone you can approach, someone that you could talk to just randomly.
He seemed almost too antisocial for me, and I know he's not. There's a difference between him and Tony Stark. Tony Stark is, I mean, they're both socialized, but Tony Stark, he would be more of like a life of the party type of guy, whereas of course Bruce Wayne would be a lot more reserved. And,
he's a recluse. Look like someone you could approach.
Right.
He's not talking to you, but you could talk to him, and he would start immediately talking back.
Pattinson's interpretation, or even Reeves at that point, seemed where he just didn't want to be bothered by nobody. And again, there is a certain element of that in Bruce's personality, but still, what I'm trying to say is that if you were going to try and guess who Batman is, he was not. Bruce isn't doing a very good job of making people think that he's not the Caped Crusader. He's almost making it too obvious that he's hiding something. Especially in scenes where we see him as Bruce out in public, like the funeral scene that you're referencing. And I get it. He's looking for the regular. He's always on his. I get that, but
but you're just making it super obvious with this blank stare you're giving everybody.
Right.
You're not even like, if someone looks at you, you don't even smile at them.
Yeah.
Like, of course, just like give some type of like feeling in your face that makes everyone not so uneasy when they look at you.
Like, I mean, like Bruce Wayne can crack a smile. He's not so.
I think
he's not so closed off. He's not so closed off that he can't do that. And to me, Pat, the way Bruce was in this film, it just seemed like he was making it too obvious that he was either something was wrong with him or something was bothering him or that he was hiding something. So that's why it actually wouldn't have surprised me if somebody would have started to make assertions, or somebody close to him started making assertions that he was the Caped Crusader.
Right.
Because it just seemed he just seemed almost too antisocial that, you probably, if you were any of the other principal characters, you couldn't help but start to,
like we talked to Bruce Wayne, and he sounds exactly like the Batman because he talks so monotone.
Very monotone.
Very not slow, but slower. Like I'm talking grounded, and then like James Gordon. I don't know if he actually he talked to Bruce Wayne, I believe, but he would talk to Bruce Wayne, and he talked to Batman in the next scene, and he didn't put two and two together. They sound very much alike with their cadence and the way they talk about things. Like, of course, with like Nolan, he tried to put a voice on, but his is kind of the same voice throughout. Oh yeah, Bale. Sorry,
that's right.
Bale, he tried to change his voice around, and this one he kept the same voice in Batman and in Bruce Wayne. And so there's like no distinguishing in between it. So if you met Bruce Wayne and then you met Batman after, it would be really not that hard to put two and two together. You'd be kind of like, they sound a lot alike, and they talk somewhat alike too.
How did you think about, so now as far as Bruce Wayne's look, it was the set photos that came out that I saw. Wasn't a big fan of them. I didn't like the fact that Bruce Wayne had bangs. I didn't like. He said, "I saw this as emo Bruce Wayne," and I'm sorry, I just can't get with it. Now I'm leaving them I'm giving them a little bit of leeway because maybe, actually no, it's too late because as of right now, I mean, spoiler. I mean, skipping to the very end of the film, the city ends with it's basically underwater essentially. Like it's straight up Hurricane Katrina. As far as even though it wasn't a hurricane,
sea walls.
Gotham is in a really bad way right now at the end of the film. So I don't think his mood certainly isn't gonna lighten up as Bruce Wayne. We may never even see him out in public as Bruce Wayne ever again. We might not.
We might see a whole film where he's just Batman.
We may. So his performance as Bruce. It's not my favorite.
I also want to know.
I don't think it's the
cutting
best.
you off about it. That he was not very serious about the business, like other side.
Nothing.
They did mention that he was going broke. Like that was like an underlying thing going on with the Wayne Tower stuff, and it was kind of
like in The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
But it's like, of course, in those aspects, you know, he's only doing his job, and it's just something's not working.
Mm-hmm.
This one, he kind of was like putting it off. He was just like, I don't want to be Bruce Wayne. I just only want to do Batman stuff. And Alfred's like, yo, dude, you have
and he didn't have, and he doesn't have Lucius Fox to oversee the operations and things like that. You know, when he's not doing his job. So I don't know. Now, I don't know if he exists in this universe or if they're going to introduce him later on. But as of right now, Lucius Fox is not a factor. He's not a character. He hasn't been introduced yet. So yeah, there is that. You know, and
the Bruce is weak.
Yeah,
but the Batman was really strong.
Yeah. I just feel like there's he's not. Bruce Wayne isn't believable as a billionaire. The way he acts in public, and also what you brought up, yes, the fact that he doesn't seem to have any interest at all in his company. Now, granted, it is his father's company, but his father ain't around anymore. He runs Wayne Enterprises now.
He steps up in most iterations.
That's right. Yeah.
Grind,
but he's not grinding in this one. No, he's not on his grind as a businessman. It doesn't, or at least it doesn't seem like that. I mean, even Affleck, to a degree, was doing that.
Yeah, he was still doing his job whenever it was
right. Or at the very least, every iteration of Batman that we've seen before this had some interest in making, whether it was PR appearances and stuff like that. Yeah, but this Bruce Wayne, nah.
Very much a recluse.
Yeah. So the fact that he's going broke, it's kind of and at this young,
yeah, it makes sense. But I don't think that'd be the Bruce Wayne that he would be. He would be someone that keeps up with his finances and make sure they're all set. Right. So he could Batman at night.
I mean, this Batman's not even 30, and like, bro, come on now. So
go broke.
Yeah. So the Bruce Wayne, not the best take I've seen. And I don't necessarily think it was great, but let's transition over to him as Batman.
Yes,
I was impressed. I thought he nailed it. I loved it. Every second he was Batman on screen, I loved it. Excellent. Okay, so what jumped out to you as far as as far as seeing Batman in other films? What about this Batman did you feel was different from the others?
I'm gonna have to say. Maybe of course every Batman has like that presence feel to him.
Yeah, there's definitely presence.
Yeah, but I think that loom, just like it felt like every time he entered the room, you could hear those boots hitting the ground hard.
Yes,
and you can hear him coming, but it's also kind of like that. Oh wow!
What are
you breaking?
This particular Batman, because when we see him in action, when we see him, and I believe it was the subway fight scene. Where these gang members, they jump some guy, and we see Batman like walking. Before you even see him, you can hear him coming.
Yeah,
that's new.
Yeah,
I've never seen any iteration of Batman in any film where Batman gave away his position or that he was approaching. About to take some time. There was no the ninja element to Batman, or the stealth part. Yeah, that to me, and I think that ties into the fact that he's young and he's only been doing this for 2 years. So, but the thing is, you would think, I don't think this Batman is. I think they're leaving out the League of Shadows tie for this Batman.
Yeah, they might be
because.
So you think he might have been trained like by Alfred or trained naturally by himself?
Well, Alfred did say he taught him how to fight.
So it might have been what they're trying to go with.
Yeah, which is I think that's how in Gotham essentially that's what Alfred was essentially trained him how to fight. Which but Bruce was like a boy then. Yeah, so I don't know if we're gonna get the League of Shadows tied, because it seemed to me because that's how they teach you how to fight. They teach you stealth. They teach you theatricality and deception are powerful agents to
They might not show just because race is a little bit more fantastical too.
So maybe that's what. Good point. Maybe they won't. Yeah. So I guess Ra's al Ghul's influence on Bruce, maybe that would be completely devoid from this particular Batman. But again, knowing how we know Batman, the fact that you would never hear him, you would never hear his footsteps.
What I think they would do is you would hear the batarang sound.
Yeah, right. Well, and apparently he only has. The batarang is ingrained in his chest plate, but he only has one of those. So, and I guess it doesn't have the boom. and I guess it doesn't work like a boomerang. So if he throws, I guess it just keeps going forward. I can't remember if it came back to him or not when he did.
He like picked it back up, I think.
Yeah. So again, gadgets not nearly as refined as as later on as they are later on in his years, in his career. But that was the first thing that stepped out to me. Yeah, the boots, you hearing him coming forward. Now, as far as his demeanor, spot on with every other, or at least every other serious interpretation of Batman that we got. It's right in line with how Christian Bale acted when he was in Batman. Pattinson's voice wasn't so much over the top as Bale's, even though I like Bale's voice. I'm not saying it was bad. I completely, it made sense. It made sense. I know people rag on it, but for me, I don't. Because it doesn't bother me. Still in the experimental stage, and also another thing that really brought it home how he's not completely, how he's still in the experimental stage was the gliders. When he's because who's he trying to? So when he goes to Gotham Police Department, he punches
Gordon,
and then he escapes through the roof. Now the back gun, the grappling gun, that worked like a charm. So he's had plenty of practice with that.
He's got grapple.
Yeah, he's got that down. But
that little glide. He makes a glide suit instead of having his own little cape. So he tries to glide. We can kind of see it's his first time because he's very much hesitant about jumping off the building.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing. I don't think it's his first time using it, but it's definitely the first time him using it. I think at the height wise.
He's used it before, but it's more of like oh God, is it gonna work long enough to get me out?
Because it took a minute. He took a minute. He was like, you kind of saw him right before. Once he got to the top and he was looking down, he was like, he didn't just go. He kind of like.
I mean, of course,
it took a minute.
Build up that anticipation that he might catch him.
Right.
I understood exactly why he was waiting so long to even jump.
And his I think one of the gliders ends up getting clipped by. He tried to glide underneath the.
Like a bridge.
He didn't make it through. One of the wings gets clipped, and he ends up taking a nasty spill.
Nice hit, man. He gets up kind of fast, though.
But he was limping, though. I like the limp. Just to reiterate. Okay, he's still human. So anybody, I don't care if it's Bruce Wayne, who we know is probably in peak physical condition. That shit gonna hurt. You're gonna be limping after that, man, because he takes a pretty nasty ass fall. So the fact that he was in that he got up, he's in pain, and then he was like, okay, nice touch, because that made sense. Like again, another I'm surprised he didn't get a concussion from that. I was like, well,
I hit his head. Well, my goodness. Like, I would assume he would have just been out for like a second. Like, he got up immediately. That was my thing. He did
get up, man. Yeah, he got up. He should have.
I would have cool if he sat there for like a second. And then we saw his face, and he was like breathing heavy and stuff. And
he did get up too quickly. You're right. He got too quickly.
That
also,
was a nice hit.
Another thing about the suit. Most bulletproof bat suit ever.
Dude. I'm not gonna say it's an Arkham game, but Arkham game you can't take that many bullets. You cannot take that many bullets.
I'm sorry. Batman, this is me nitpicking. Yes, we know his suits have always been bulletproof, but
and
it was never this bulletproof.
This strongest part. They mentioned that all the time.
He takes so many, and these aren't handguns that these are. Like shotguns, automatic weapons, fucking somebody might have had an AK-47 and shot him and just nothing penetrated. That seemed a little bit. There is no Kevlar that.
Nah, he out here taking bullets like
Yeah. In succession though, like he's taking bullets in succession, man, like rapid fire.
With that scene when they were in the rain, when he was with Catwoman and he got shot and he fell on the ground, and I was like, oh, he got hit. Like, okay,
okay. So after all of this, and this, so after all the fire he's taken, one axe finally made it through the vest or through the
they
Kevlar.
Didn't draw attention to it regardless though.
Right.
He went down, but then he just got back up and he was in his Batmobile going on.
That was the one moment where you thought, okay, finally some realism, because this dude's literally like, that suit has literally withstood like 1,000 bullets up to this point. And then I guess, and I thought it was because he took it, like, I think, was that the one where he got shot? He was right up on him, like that dude. It was point blank range.
I want to say it was in his chest.
It was point blank range where that dude shot him, and he went back, and I thought, that if anything, that will pierce
he'll be hurt.
The Imperial. But apparently not enough. Yeah, so as far as the suit goes, yeah, I mean, of course, Batman would have a suit that would be able to withstand not just one bullet, but multiple bullets, of course. But but to be honest, it seemed in Nolan's Batman movies, his suit seemed to be more realistic as far as being
like you can take a couple of
imperilous to gunfire.
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Robert was like, I'm gonna go jump in all of this. Y'all shoot at me.
Like he takes so much gunfire from so many different guns, but none of it matters.
No.
None of it matters. None of it even slows him down. Like it was like Black Panther suit. Like that was like that's a that was. No, for those of you that haven't seen the movie, like the only thing I can compare Batman's suit to in this film is it was vibranium suit because it just will withstand anything.
Yeah, he like legitimately
bombs.
The only he got blown face first. The guy
no scratches, no marks. Yeah, his
dude had a collar on and it blew him up in front of him, and all he did was get knocked out for a bit. No damage on the body, no facial, like
no scar tissue, nothing. So his face isn't charred. This shit happened. At most, he was 2 feet away from what was it? The DA Gil Colson. Gil Colson. Nice. Colson, who's the DA? He ends up being another one of Riddler's victims. He ends up getting blown up, and Batman is literally like 2 feet away from point blank. Bomb goes off. No facial damage to Batman whatsoever.
Yeah.
Sorry, movie. Got to penalize the movie for that. Got to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's got to penalize. He's too tanky. Of course, he's not really like too stealthy. So
unless he went like this, unless he put his arms up and covered his face, or
might have done it really fast. We might not have seen it. Maybe that's what we missed.
But I don't even think he. I don't think he did it. No, I think he. I don't remember him bracing himself. To protect his face from the blast. I don't remember him doing that. That shit got up in his face.
Yeah, he just took it.
And no damage. But so the suit. This is
tankier suit.
Wow, because it literally can withstand probably a tank or whatever they do, like a tank shells or whatever. He
was out here just handling them. Like it does not matter what the situation is, how many guns they got.
So the suit is up to grade.
And then they got sniper rifles at the end with the Riddler dudes. I think one of them shot him and he was like, whatever.
Sniper rifles,
nothing. Sniper rifles are heavy, baby. Like those things, the calibers are hard.
Nothing's getting through this suit. At least that's.
They definitely got him tanked up.
Pattinson definitely, like I said, I was with them. It's obviously Batman's going to have a particular demeanor, but I thought he never lost that presence.
Yeah. He felt like the Dark Knight.
Felt like the Dark Knight.
The vengeance he was always saying he was. Mm-hmm. It was there.
Speaking very, keeps his sentences short. That's another thing that I liked about Pattinson. Here's the thing, I know. Apart from the red flags that the things about him getting sent home just like that, we know he's a talented actor. I've never questioned the man's talent. I really don't even think about the fucking Twilight movies because to me, like he's so far removed from those films. Like he's done great work and he's prides himself on doing a lot of independent films. So so I didn't really question whether or not he could nail. I like to say I wish his Bruce Wayne would have been better, but I thought he gave a great performance. They gave him that. I think so.
I mean, in that take of he got the direction and he made it that way, he went across the way he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I will give him that he, as an actor, he handled his role in both aspects as Bruce and Batman perfectly.
Yes, Batman.
The direction they gave him, he did it.
Yes, he's dark. He's brooding. So whether it's Gordon or Catwoman, who we're going to transition to in a second, doesn't give them anything. Not even with Riddler, at least up to the point where where they're having that discussion, and obviously he loses his temper. But before then, he was always Batman, as we've always known him. As we've always known him, he was Batman.
Zoe Kravitz then kissed the man. He kept a straight face regardless, man.
Well, might as well jump into it. Zoe. I was not crazy about the casting of Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Selena Kyle, played by Zoe Kravitz. So she basically works as a bartender right? For at the club,
the Iceberg Lounge.
The Iceberg Lounge, yeah, which is basically
iconic Iceberg Lounge, I must say.
Yeah,
because that's like
from
Arkham.
Arkham
Is it? Yeah, it's in Arkham games.
Okay.
That's where you meet Penguin at a bunch of the times.
Okay.
In the game.
Okay.
So
just like in this film. Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of really cool. Like they mentioned the Iceberg Lounge, and I remember they mentioned like another place, which I do think they also mentioned in Arkham games as well. But it's not something we actually see in the Arkham games. But they do mention, and you do visit the Iceberg Lounge in those games. So
yeah,
it's a very iconic spot. So yeah, she works as a bartender there.
The Iceberg Lounge, it's actually a front for a club that's underneath. Yeah,
32,
called 42. No, I got it now. 44 below.
Cool, that's what it was. Yeah.
And that was, so the club underneath the Iceberg Lounge called 44 Below, that was a mob hangout. And not just, for mobsters and also
politicians.
Yeah, politicians, of course, corrupt ones. I mean, if there is, because, that would be their hangout spot for mobsters and corrupt politicians, very, very powerful people, who essentially run Gotham, and high-ranking city officials, right? Which is where we meet Phil Coulson. And also, who else was there? There was, we see the district attorney is there, the former police commissioner. I think it was something Savage, right?
Yeah. Shoot.
He was a regular there.
Pete
Savage there. Yeah. He was a regular there. Yeah. So that's where we are introduced to the Selina Kyle character. Yeah. So Batman went there to question Penguin.
Yeah.
So, but Zoe's whole purpose of being there was to.
Was he trying to just kill Falcone? Like that was.
Well, yes, obviously, yes.
Oh, no, she was trying to figure out what happened to her friend Anika, who was
Annika,
Annika, yeah. Mm-hmm. She was basically. We didn't give like a whole synopsis, but in one of the parts during the thing, Don Mitchell Jr., the guy who died in the beginning of the film, the Riddler had left a clue in his car with a thumb drive that they had to use Don Mitchell Jr.'s thumb to unlock. In there was a bunch of pictures of him and Annika.
They were romantically involved,
and
right?
Basically, Don was having like a little mistress moment, and of course he was loose at the lips, telling Annika about everything that was going on with the corrupt situation in Gotham, and in turn had Falcone, who knew about that situation, have to kill her to keep all the secrets gone.
That's right.
Which is then have Catwoman, who was her roommate at the time,
right? They were roommates.
Have to figure out why and where and what happened to her friend Annika and why she went missing. And that was kind of like her whole reason, which is then turned into her having to kill Falcone, who found out was the one who killed her friend.
And just as an aside, I know the film doesn't necessarily say out loud, and other characters actually acknowledge that that they were lovers, but that's why I said quasi lesbian. It's just that she kept calling her baby and things like that. Like I said, that element is always in certain iterations for Catwoman, especially in recent iterations. That was there, but it's fine. Yes, like I said, same thing with Anne Hathaway's. It was there too, or they hinted at it, and they did the same thing in this film. They hinted at it, but they didn't exactly say it. Part I just wanted to throw that in there. But so that was basically her whole point of being a bartender at the lounge. She was there to basically gather info, and find out what happened to her friend, and ultimately, we do find out that Annika does get killed. So Zoe's performance, after seeing it twice, I have to say I thought she did a really great job. I enjoyed her Catwoman, and I'll let you go first. So your thoughts on her performance as Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman?
She was good. I mean, she wasn't like terrible, and she wasn't bad. She was good, and maybe solid at the most. I think she was a fine addition to the movie, but I don't think she was necessary. In the grand scheme of things, I feel like seeing Catwoman in this film, of course, is great to see her. I love to see Batman characters, but in the whole story they were telling with her being Falcone's daughter and all this other crap,
for me, that was the part that was unnecessary. Now, her being in the film, I mean, I completely understand why you use Catwoman in the first film, because everybody knows Batman and Catwoman. Yeah. I mean, this is the first Batman film we're getting since The Dark Knight Rises. When it comes to being able to appeal to normies as well as people who are actual Batman fans, I mean, having Catwoman as the exactly.
So.
She's going to be she's a sell. Yeah, if you're selling Batman, you have Catwoman too. That's going to draw people are going to come see that because we've always liked that dynamic. At least there's certain iterations of it. You know, that's it's iconic. It is an iconic pairing. So
I will give it this. It was very much reminiscent. But I'm going to bring this up a lot. The Arkham games because when they do like interact with each other. Bruce is I'm saying Bruce as Batman as well, but Bruce, he's very much like he likes Selina, and you can tell he does, but he also is at that point where he's like, she does criminal activities, she does the sly stuff that isn't really what I do, I'm vengeance, I'm justice, I do the right thing. She has that kind of vendetta to her, and so he kind of keeps his distance when he talks to her. Like, it's not like super obvious, but you can tell that he's like, I like you, but I can't really be with you.
Yeah, there's a line of morality that Bruce isn't willing to cross because that's his moral code, and Catwoman, however, as far as we know her, she is willing to cross that line that Bruce won't cross. Like, Bruce doesn't use guns, which I mean I'm gonna bring up this little nugget later on, but yeah, Selina is willing to resort to killing someone, for whatever reason, and Bruce is, that goes strictly against his moral code. So that element was there. So I want to ask, is this the best iteration of Catwoman that you've seen, cinema wise? Because we've had there's Anne Hathaway, there was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, maybe Michelle. I might be Michelle or it might be her. I think it's between those two. I did like Michelle.
Which two?
Wasn't Michelle the one where they had the penguin and that was the one with the So Michelle, I'm gonna give it. I do like hers a lot just because, like, of course,
I think she's the most
tap into like the cat ways, but she was very much like I love my cats. I act like a cat.
Yeah. This one, they brought that back. This was not, bringing up in comparison to Anne Hathaway, she didn't deal with cats. But this one they actually, again, the fact that Selina has an affinity for cats, that was actually. With this particular character, but that was not present in the Nolan film. Go ahead,
So I think it's between her.
So nice. I actually like that callback. I liked that.
Right. I think her, like Zoe, definitely tapped into that. Like, I'm kind of familiar with the cats. I like the cats and stuff. And also I did like the callback that she does take in cats.
I actually like that. That was That's what's what I'm looking for. That's part of the brand, but again, they moved away from that with the Nolan series. But I actually like that. I also noticed that the kleptomaniac trait that we've seen in past iterations was not in this film. Normally, especially like I know I keep referencing it, but like in Nolan's series and in other adaptations. She's known for, anytime you see Catwoman, there might be a scene or two where she's robbing, a diamond, a jewelry store or something like that. Yeah, we don't. We do see her trying to steal something, but it wasn't jewelry.
Bad guy.
Right. Yeah. She was trying to get her friend's passport. That's really the only thing she attempts to steal in the whole movie. Yeah, other than Kinsey,
she wasn't even super antsy about stealing stuff.
His thing. I like this about her because to me, and this is just me. This is just maybe my gripes that I have with the Catwoman character. To me, that sort of trait that gets old after a while. And when I say it gets old that Batman keeps falling for. Like she keeps, and the fact that he let her get away. Like it was all over in Gotham. Like Selina Kyle was always taking shit, and it kept happening over and over and over again. Like for me, that gets getting tiring because you're Bruce, as you have one of the highest IQs. You know who this girl is, and she likes to steal stuff, but you just keep letting her get away with it. I like the fact that essentially what I've seen too much in past iterations is Batman kind of like tolerates like the silly, frivolous antics that Catwoman does.
Yeah, he's like, you're not trying to kill the city. You're just taking a few diamonds.
I like that as far as their dynamic. This was probably I enjoyed their dynamic, and because like I said, Batman doesn't really get obviously he finds her attractive, and I'll say this: Zoe Kravitz, she looked really good in this film. She did. I'm not gonna lie. She was pretty
amazing and beautiful.
I know that I'm not on the bandwagon as much as you are. All right, but I have to call it like I see it. And even not only that, but from her the outfits that she wore, like how her character dressed. Spandex, everything was
That's
spandex.
Catwoman all day, man.
They really harped on that I think just about every outfit she wore. I think my favorite, if you have a favorite, my favorite. No, I really liked when she confronts Falcone to try and kill him. I think she had on the black top. See, I'm in costume design, so this shit. The only reason why I'm even paying attention is because I'm taking costume design, so I noticed it, right? The black, the spandex top and the pants looked really good on her. Now she's skinny. Let's just call it what it is. But on her, it looked really good. The white top, when we first see her, the white top with the black skirt and the boots, the boots looked really good. The
like
thigh high.
She looked like she was supposed to be there, and that worked for her. Like her outfit, like did.
I gotta admit, Zoe really, she rocked that look. She looked really good. She did look very
was
sexy.
Like red hair with it, I think.
Yeah, wigs. There were wigs. Yeah, she had multiple wigs, which again makes sense. Of course, makes sense.
She's very like espionage.
Matter of fact,
I
think. She wore two completely different wigs for both clubs. Like in the Iceberg Lounge, I think she just had on like this little black short. What's it called?
Like a bob?
It's that cut. It's like an anime cut. I can't remember the name of it. That you see, like it's really popular in like Japanese culture. I think it was something like that. She had that a Hime cut. I think.
Okay.
She had that when she was at the Iceberg Lounge, but when she went. But when we see her go down to 44 Below and she's trying to get intel on Gil Colson,
that was the red one.
I think
that
so.
That was the red one. I know she wore a red wig. I don't know when she wore it, but I think that's when she wore it.
Yeah, she had the red one. Yeah, so she has different wigs for different.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
Which is pretty slick. That's pretty slick. I like that.
Yeah, we're about to talk about Zoe, but I want to get back to this real quick. Batman has context to record everything.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. Yeah, he puts them in her eyes.
He gave that to her, and she was wearing those. I think that is so cool.
That's dope. That was dope.
That's like something Batman never has. Of course, he records everything, and I assumed it was like in his cowl. I didn't think.
Right. But that's the first time we've seen it. Usually he does record stuff. Right. Yeah. It's usually through the eyes of the cowl that he wears in some way. That he like. Record stuff, but in this one it was contacts. That was pretty sweet.
That was pretty dope. So I did want to mention she did wear those contacts to help record everything too. It was pretty cool. But her costumes were really well. They did much. They looked a lot like what Catwoman would wear, and they did fit very naturally with her character. And every scene that she was in, it was really well done.
But again, I like the fact that they didn't feel the need to have her to show every time we saw Selena Kyle. They didn't feel the need to have, especially when she was Catwoman, have her like stealing some shit just because she felt like it, right? Like she wasn't a kleptomaniac in this film. In fact, it wasn't even part of her motive as to I'm just doing this because I just like. They near the end, at the very end, she does, when she proposes that her and Batman leave the city, she does say something about let's go and knock off some some billionaire hedge fund types or whatever, and that was really it. That was really it.
That's the way line.
Yeah. But other than that, she wasn't a kleptomaniac in this film, and I enjoyed that. So her character was very grounded and also very realistic. I love the walk. She got the Catwoman walk.
Really. You mentioned it to me, and you were like, that seems kind of weird. Like you mentioned it was weird, and I was like, nah, actually, she.
Did I say it was weird? I didn't think it was weird. No, I was like, that's. It brought that extra little layer of personality to her character, which makes sense. Of course, Catwoman will walk like that. I mean, as much as I despise the Halle Berry,
it's like a model walk,
it's catwalk, like she's walking down the catwalk, right? It makes sense. It makes 100%. It makes total sense. So I got that, and I like that. So my only gripes about the character, and also. The fight scenes, we might as well get into it since we're on Batman Catwoman right now. The fight choreography, again, very believable. She was more like, this is the most technical I think we've ever seen Catwoman, at least in combat. Same thing with Batman. I thought the fight scenes that we got, which were few and far between. But just them, very, very realistic, very grounded in reality. You know, we never see Selena like Zoe Kravitz weighs what, 100 pounds. You know, we don't see her overpowering anybody. She fights very much like Catwoman would fight, and Anne Hathaway did too. But I think, I thought the camera work in this film was very good as far as how they shot the fight scenes, because we could see everything. We saw now the first time when Batman is snooping on Catwoman trying to retrieve that passport. She did a couple of which was clearly a stunt double. I don't even know. They might have been some wiring used, because she did
jumped
like
out the window. Are you talking about that?
No, I'm talking about when they fought, when they had that little when they exchanged that little fisticuffs. I think she did like this one like spinning heel kick, which. Okay, it's okay. Like I doubt you could really. She's that capable, or whatever. But it's fine though. It's fine though. But again, like
she's like a good fighter. She says she's somewhat of a really good fighter. So I can believe maybe.
But not so much. Like it wasn't anything Batman can handle, right? So it was like which again I like that. Like I said, very grounded in reality, but. And also, I did like the banter between those two. The fact that she could be very talkative in certain scenes, and then Batman would just like give her a look but not say anything. Like he hardly ever responded to anything she said. He was like, "Well, you're not really one to talk though." But I like that dynamic. She's just rambling about shit.
She was
like
trying to get him to come out of his shell, and my man was like, "No."
Or
the whole way through, he's looking at her like, "Don't try to get me to talk to you."
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, and understandably so. Obviously, she's intrigued by him because because now she's working with him. So of course she's going to try and try to get him to try to break that shell. But of course, Batman isn't going to let that happen. But so she's kind of like, all right, whatever, okay. So it just ain't going to work. And he's like, yeah, no, it's not going to work. So that dynamic, I thought, obviously he's going to be stoic, and she's just sort of. She wasn't rambling so much that it was annoying, but you get it, right?
Yeah, she's trying to fill up the blank silence that he's not talking in.
Right.
Yeah,
and he's just like not going for it. I like that. I like that. Of course, so eventually they were gonna kiss. Of course, we knew that. We knew that was coming.
My only thing is I kind of didn't feel like it was like natural, but not at the same time. Like it was one of those ones, kind of like
you got to put it in there.
The story beat of her kissing him.
Would it be Batman and Catwoman if they didn't kiss at some point? Would it be that? Come on.
I know. It's just I think it for me. She was there. She was integral to the story. She did a great job, but I feel like the story could have worked without her. Like just what they were trying to do with everything that was going on. Yeah. They could have done it in a way where it could have been a whole different character or someone else that Batman had relationships with, and it could have made it work.
Yeah, I agree. The
romantic aspect.
Yeah, I agree. The Falcone being her father.
Like she has the connection. Like
plot point. I didn't like that connection, and because that in a way that does sort of force Catwoman into the film, as opposed to if that wasn't there, you would have had to given her some other motive.
Like the Hanukkah thing was the reason for her being involved, and that
have it be that he killed. I don't know, killed Annika's mother, or or something like that. She was trying to figure out. So he killed the mother.
He killed her mother.
But he killed Selena's mother.
Like it could have been the catalyst for it, and they were never in a relationship together.
Right? Yeah. So
evil bastard.
Yeah, Falcone. So Falcone kills Selena's mother, who her mother was also worked at the club.
Yeah. And apparently Falcone's way of killing people is strangulation.
By strangulation. It's not necessary. No. That okay? You want to have him kill Selena's mother? Fine, but don't have. Him be her daughter. Her be his daughter.
Like you're trying to add layers to this.
Don't need it.
The issue could have been he killed your mom. That's enough for her to be trying to attack you.
That's enough. Killed your mom and your friend. That's enough. That's plenty of motive. You don't need them to be father and daughter. Now, Falcone again. He does end up being one of the victims. Riddler kills him, or somebody kills him. I don't even know if it was Riddler. Was it Riddler?
It was.
Yeah, it was Riddler. That's right. Yeah.
So
because it turns out we might as well just go ahead and bring that up.
Falcone real quick before we get to the Riddler. I want to just mention him offhanded. I did like Falcone a lot. I want to mention that for me, Tyler said he's seen Gotham, and Falcone is a big part of Gotham. But for me, when I'm watching, whenever I've seen like any iteration of Batman, Falcone is only dead. He's normally already passed, and Penguin's in charge. So when seeing this film and seeing him kind of being fleshed out and doing his like sneaky job of being the mobster he is was really fun to see. I mean, like, of course, Penguin's there. Penguin's his underling. You kind of see Penguin trying to like sneak his way into that
in Gotham. In Gotham.
And that's all great and all, but Falcone is the main antagonist. It isn't Penguin. It's Falcone the issue, and we need to get rid of him. And I really enjoyed that they kind of focused on him just for this to be his film, like,
and how that happened, how he ends up rising to power.
Yeah, they even explained that.
So basically, the driving point in this film, I feel, was the renewal fund, which was proposed by Bruce Wayne, who decided during his campaign to run for mayor. So Bruce Wayne, we end up finding out that he did run for mayor at one point. And that's really the crux of Riddler's animosity and why he's doing what he's doing. It's basically to destroy. Well, the fact that the city never really fulfilled its promise. Regarding the renewal fund, like, I guess they ended up, like, all that money ended up essentially just going to all the different high-ranking officials and mobsters and whatever, and like, they're doing their own little thing.
Explained it was that it was a fund they used to pay everybody off.
Right, yeah.
They used a fund to pay everybody off.
Right, and when we find out that, and again, Riddler explains this. We find out that Bruce actually saves. Actually, we found out from Falcone himself at the funeral. Falcone tells Bruce that Bruce Wayne, who in this film he's essentially a surgeon, right, a doctor.
Oh, Thomas
Wayne. Yes, Thomas Wayne.
Thomas was a surgeon.
They don't say it, but that's
how else would he be? Politics. I think. I think
so he's Ben Carson, I guess. Is that what he's an Hollywood for?
I want to say he was like a surgeon.
Surgeon turned politician, I guess.
Yes, he was a surgeon.
Or surgeon?
Because he stitched up Falcone for the bullet. So yes, he was a surgeon, famous surgeon. And
I mean, like I said, they didn't say that, but I kind of that's the conclusion I came to.
I mean, yeah, he sold somebody up from a bullet when you got that note.
You have to, right. You had to have gone through medical school to know that. So he was a doctor.
Yeah,
okay.
Do something with doctoral stuff.
Yeah, so basically, surgeon or doctor, then turned philanthropist, I guess. So, but Bruce Wayne doesn't own a hospital, though. That's not Wayne Enterprise. It's not a hospital.
Yeah, no.
Even though he probably does own one. I'm sure he has his own hospital.
They probably do.
But so I guess it's surgeon turned philanthropist turned billionaire and then politician. I guess, I don't know. It's still sort of murky to me, but
I think that's the path they were trying to go with, though.
Right, but the fact that Thomas actually reaches out to Falcone to silence a reporter who was threatening to release
information on his wife.
On his wife, her on Martha, who in this film we find out through Riddler's videos that he was releasing to the public that she had a mental illness and she ended up killing. She was. Did he say? I think he said she was clinically insane or something like that. And she ended up killing her mother. And Bruce didn't want that story to leak out during. Thomas. Thomas didn't want that to leak out during his mayoral campaign, right? So he goes to Falcone and says, hey,
can you get him scared enough that he won't say anything? Right. Falcone obviously does not do it that way.
Mobster is what Mobster does,
and
right?
So he goes a little too far and ends up killing the reporter.
Yeah.
Ends up telling Thomas. Thomas is freaking out. He's like, I'm going to tell everybody, I can't live with this guilt. And in that turn, Alfred tells us that literally like later that night is when Batman Bruce, his parents died.
Right.
So,
and again, they still leave that as an
ambiguous.
They don't know. Nobody. Apparently, literally nobody knows. Not even Falcone who killed. Who actually pulled the trigger on the Waynes. So I don't know. How do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, that's cool. I mean,
you cool with them leaving it ambiguous like that?
Yeah, like, I mean, everyone knows it's Joe Chill, but like, no one needs to like.
Well, no, everybody doesn't know because you have to know the comics in order to know that. So I will say that.
That's true. Yeah, but I was guessing.
And Joe Chill has never. I don't even think in Gotham. I don't even think they didn't even touch on that. He's never been introduced as a character. And I don't think any Batman. No, not Batman film. I don't even think in any iteration of Batman. I don't think they never called him Joe Chill as the guy.
Well,
who pulls the trigger.
Everyone remembers the Batman dying. I mean, Batman's parents dying scene. Yeah, of course. And it's always pictured as like a low-level mobster dude or low-level street thug who gets killed. It's never. They don't never pictured as the big boss dude who
That's right.
is like on a vendetta type thing. So of course, leaving it ambiguous does have that kind of like layer of maybe he sent somebody in, maybe he did it himself. We don't really know, you know. So I do like.
So they're
that.
sticking. So they are sticking to the brand. They are sticking to the brand of we don't actually know who did it, right? Or who
but the evidence all pointing at Falcone. So they all have that.
Yeah. In my opinion, the evidence does point. What does eventually lead up to it was a hit. Ordered by some mobster, somebody, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I did just want to touch on that Falcone was in this film and he was a prominent part of this film.
Yeah, because when Thomas is murdered, now you have all these different factions and parties and like politicians who now want to get their hands on the renewal fund, like the money, right?
Because it's so much.
Right, and
talking about it.
Falcone ends up being because he had that that relationship with Thomas, or the fact that Thomas came to him for a favor. I guess he ends up basically getting his hands on it, and as we come to find out, it's been Falcone who's essentially been the mayor, the unofficial mayor of Gotham for the last 20 years.
Right. So yeah,
I can't remember who it was that said that. I think it was one of the cops that told. No, it was Kinsey.
Yeah, it was Kinsey. They had called him on the roof and they were talking to him, and he was like, "You don't know." Like,
that was another thing that Catwoman stole. That was really the only thing. She only steals two things in this film: that passport, which Batman takes from her, and he doesn't give it back. And because I remember whispering to you, I was like, "She probably how much you want to bet that she ends up stealing." Taking the passport back for Batman, he doesn't even know it, but it didn't happen though. It didn't happen. That would happen in Nolan's film. That would happen in the Nolan movies, where she always ends up getting what she wants, but it didn't happen. But anyway, she does get Kinsey, and Kinsey reveals that Falcone runs the freaking city.
Yeah, Falcone's
and has been running it.
He's the mayor, and no one just doesn't want to. Like everyone doesn't want to say it, but we all know. So yeah, they definitely tackled the Falcone, and they tackled it in a way that they gave me just enough of him that now that he's gone, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because in every other iteration, he's always gone. It's always Penguin's already taken over, and Falcone's just been a memory in the past. And he's a big part of
except in Gotham.
Yeah. And and they never really addressed it. He's a big part of how Penguin even got to that position again.
Right, yeah.
It's because he was under Falcone. He learned from Falcone. He was doing all this stuff for Falcone. Even when Falcone died, now he can be the mobster leader and he can control Gotham in his own little sick way. So like I really appreciate they touching the Falcone. But we got to switch to the Riddler now.
Yeah, let's talk about Riddler. Paul Dano. I knew he would kill it. Fantastic performance.
Yeah.
I know you found some of his sort of.
It wasn't what he said. It was how he said it.
Yeah, okay, or his demeanor a little bit kooky, but this is probably the most tragic I think I've ever seen the Riddler. In past iterations, especially in films, he's very just as flamboyant as say the Joker. You know, he's one of the more flamboyant. Villains within Batman's Rogues Gallery, and of course wearing a lot of green and stuff like that. For those of you that have not seen that, you are not getting anything close to that. You're not getting this Riddler isn't in any way, shape, or form similar to the one in Gotham, not the one in the Burton's Batman, or this is
like he's kind of like not. Just
this is like tortured.
He's kind of scary.
Yes, this is the scariest Riddler I've ever seen, and he does wear green, but it's
like poop green. Like
it's dark, it's dull.
Yeah, it's not like
kind of hard to tell that it even is green. There is nothing flamboyant about it. And so what we learn from his backstory is very interesting. Now I know it took us a while to get to this, but the way that Riddler goes on his mission to reveal the truth to people, he essentially uses social media, almost in a way. I thought it was sort of like I almost thought it was like an allegory for TikTok in a way, or that he was using because
it was like Facebook Live. I think it's like what they were trying to say.
Essentially, but he was using a platform, and he actually so his whole mission is to expose the Waynes, and not only that, but the Arkhams, who I actually didn't even know that was a family. The fact that because he refers to them as Gotham's founding families, the Waynes and the Arkhams. Yeah. I actually didn't know that much about the Arkhams. And so, but he does that through a string of videos while leading Bruce and the Gotham PD on this, this wild goose chase of, leaving clues, of course, because he's the Riddler, and leaving riddles as messages to help them get closer and closer to, or how to find him anyway.
Right.
We'll first find the rat, and then because
find the rat, and
you'll find me. In turn you'll find me. Yeah, lead the rat into the light, and you'll find me. It was something like that. So that's another thing that I think makes this film very grounded. Is just how
they didn't go with the
how the Riddler operated. Riddler, right. And not only that, but the more pragmatic Riddler, because of course, how in this day and age, if you're going to expose someone for someone, having a shady past or whatever, of course you do it. You do it through social media. You do it through
drop a live stream.
Yeah, live stream.
What's
YouTube.
Up,
you do it through YouTube. You do it through YouTube. That's literally how you do it. It's it's cancel culture, but to the umpteenth degree, but in the most extreme form. Like it's not. That's in our day. That's essentially what we call it. But again, if your goal is to soil someone's good name or reputation, the way the Riddler goes about, that's exactly how you would do it in today's day and time. That's how you would do it. You would do it through social media, a social media platform, making videos, and releasing information to the public and stuff like that. So that makes him very real, very grounded, and very contemporary. This is a very contemporary film. He's a very contemporary villain, and also the fact that we find out he is an orphan, just like Bruce, but I thought, to me, the most poignant scene with Paul Dano was when he was explaining what living in Wayne, the orphanage, what the conditions were like. When he's explaining that to Bruce,
he's trying to explain what an orphan actually is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was in my notes. Yeah, he's like, okay, you were just an orphan in title, but you didn't live like an orphan, at least not to the degree that me and all those other kids, like, and when he's explained the conditions, to me, that was his best scene. So him explaining that, I was in there with kids who, it was so cold during the wintertime that half of them, he said
one baby would die in the winter because they didn't have enough warmth or something.
Right, yeah. He said there's 13 kids to a room, in the winter they won't hardly have any heat, and some of them die off. And, just like absolutely horrid conditions. And you're like, it really does make you think, like, how could conditions like this for an orphanage that's essentially owned and sponsored by the Waynes, how could they be so dire?
Yeah.
So, and that, I think that really did help explain, and maybe it's a very extreme interpretation of, let's say, the rich not looking after, the disadvantaged and citizens of Gotham and things like that. But it just helped drive home the point of just how corrupt the city is and just how much, the common man and those who don't have, they really don't care. Like, you really don't care. Yeah. So of course, Batman has always been, because it's Gotham, it's the big city. Of course, there's always going to be that political undertone or socio-political themes. So. Yeah, but I thought his monologue really captured that in a way that it was a strong moment.
I think I enjoyed more when he was actually like with the Riddler voice on the camera, doing his whole like explanations, doing the riddles and stuff. Just because it was the Riddler, doing his little riddles, and he's like super like dark and scary with it. Like he's like
now the scene. I wanted to ask you about this. I wonder what were your thoughts? The scene where he has, I can't remember which city official it was, but he had them captured and he released that video to the public of him.
I think it was Pete. You talking about the rats and the mouse, the little.
Remember he was holding somebody hostage. Not the funeral. This is before that when we.
Yeah, I would say Pete Savage. That was the one where he had.
It was Pete Savage. Yeah, it was Pete Savage. Yeah.
It was the rats. And I was thinking about it. They didn't draw attention to it, but the way he was actually trying to kill that guy is because when you close in things on like rats and mouse and stuff, they would eat their way out of you.
That's right.
So it was like they didn't draw attention to it, but it was that dark, and I was like, dude, that's fucked.
Yeah, but that video, I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but think Heath Ledger. When he's got that dude house and he's in that video and he's talking about how he wants the Batman to reveal himself, it was just too similar.
I feel it.
So I just couldn't help but think it.
Make that comparison with it. Yeah. I was more on the aspect of him just being kind of like you know, y'all don't know who I am. I got the mask on. My voice is a little altered. You know, I got this person in the back over here. He's gonna die by some rats. It was like a whole little just build up of him just sounding like this like dark messenger, or just, I don't know, just letting everyone know what's going on. But it's just like one of those situations where if someone like dropped a live stream of them like that take somebody out online, you're just sitting there watching in awe because you can't do anything about it. You can't stop it. You're just sitting here stuck viewing this, and he's just super menacing and just saying all these things about how corrupt Gotham is and how he's going to change it for the better. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, I'm going to keep killing. I'm like, oh no.
And ultimately, and also, how did you feel that essentially he found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman?
He did not.
Oh, he did?
Mm-mm. It was all him building. He was basically just talking about Bruce, but Batman, he did keep us like a steel face, but he was kind of shaky a little bit. But he kept up the appearance that he did.
Okay. So, I was actually confused because I actually thought he had found out that Batman, that Bruce Wayne was Batman, because I thought the thing that that confirmed that was when he was saying saying Bruce Wayne's name when the GCPD do capture the Riddler, and put him into custody, and obviously Batman goes to see him, and right before that when they were at his hideout, because Riddler actually stayed in. Oh, he had multiple hideouts, I think, but one of them was he had an apartment, in an apartment building right across the street from the Iceberg Lounge. So that was how he was gaining intel on where, you know, the city officials, you know, all these, you know, these big powerful people, you know, where they were going and, you know, who they were dealing with, you know, to help build up his case of just how corrupt they are, you know, so that was great. But when they find that out. And of course, that's how he kills Falcone. From that vantage point. But I thought he had figured out Bruce's identity.
No, it was supposed to be like a little fake out. He's just saying Bruce Wayne, and that's why Batman got a little tense in the jaw, and he was like, "Oh, he found me out." But then I think he mentioned something about like right after that, he was like, Batman, you're gonna help me, and that was kind of like his cue, like, oh, you don't know, okay, I can cool down.
Oh, now. Okay.
He kind of untensed himself.
I don't remember that. It was
super subtle, but he like untensed himself.
Okay. So he was still referring to him as Batman. Okay.
He knew he doesn't know he's Bruce Wayne.
I thought when he was saying Bruce Wayne, I thought it was at that moment that he revealed. Oh, he actually knew.
No, he was. I think he was upset that Bruce didn't die, and that he was like, "Oh, I missed him. He's the one person I missed."
Okay, wow. I'm glad you caught that, because even after seeing it twice, I actually didn't. I missed that part.
It was so subtle, but it was. You could see it in his jaw when he said it. He was like, "Oh, you know," and then when the guy was like, "Batman, you helped me," and he was like, "Oh, okay, you don't know." So he just kept talking like it was normal.
But the fact that he wanted to use. Obviously, he was aware of the Batman. He decided, "Hey, I'm going to use you as an instrument."
Yeah.
Riddler was saying this to Batman. I'm going to use you, Batman, as an instrument to help the truth come to light.
Yeah, we're
That's
partners.
why I put you. Yeah,
we're
right.
Partners.
Well, whether you know it or not, right? So yes, and also, did you? I don't know. Did you catch the fact that Riddler did admit that he was a drophead, or that he was, and drops were obviously,
Yeah.
Just an allegory for illegal drugs, or or I don't know if it's hallucinogenic, or I just took it as like, okay, coke or whatever, or something like that.
He might have just I don't
or some sort of pills, but that's an organized crime as far as like drug operations go. Like they call them drops. That's the substance that
makes sense. Yeah, I didn't catch that actually.
Yeah, he's been he's been on some stuff. He's been through some stuff, and he's been on some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's deranged.
Yeah, and not only that, I like the fact that him and Bruce are essentially the same age.
Yeah,
they're both. You could kind of didn't you get the feel that he was what?
I think they're supposed to be the same age.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole movie's purpose, for them to be a comparison to each other. Like, he's on that spectrum of, Bruce had a wealthy family, he had a good life, and he, was just an orphan out of circumstances.
Yeah.
Riddler was an orphan out of circumstances, but his circumstances were way worse. He's in a broken down orphanage. He's dealing with, people dying around him. The city where he lives in is corrupt. Bruce didn't have to deal with that. So I think it's that like dynamic of, this person was in a more brighter upbringing and, grew up with more positive influences, and this person was in a darker situation with more negative influences, and that's what he becomes. And I think that's what they were trying to show us, that, even though in that situation you shouldn't really be like blaming him for the situation he was in, it does show that the situation he was in is because of the stuff that he dealt with.
Right.
Throughout his,
Oh, and that's all Batman villains.
Yeah,
all of them, if we're being honest, they're all victims of circumstances.
Most
but
definitely.
that doesn't mean that they were devoid of making their own choices on how to like deal with it. But that is essentially
trying to show us that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That,
So
like,
that
he was in a bad situation, and this is what happened in that terms of that bad situation. Of course, he had the decision to not do the things he does, but you can kind of understand where.
And this was the conversation that Batman had with Catwoman, when she's talking specifically about that, when she's talking about how she grew up and the things that she did, the things that she was having to do to survive. And of course, she says, and this is during the Kinsey scene, right, when she was wanting to kill Kinsey and he stops her. You had to have grew up rich to, what'd she say? Damn,
it was something about like dealing with their problems or something like that.
Yeah,
like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was something dealing with like you have to grow up rich to not know that there were problems down here or something like that. Like
right.
that, to not know that some situations you might do something you wouldn't think you would ever do because the stuff that you done with and dealt with in the past has gotten to this point.
Right.
For Batman, he hadn't dealt with that.
That and also, but Batman still understands you have to take some accountability for the things that you choose to do, whether you're rich or whether you grew up rich or poor.
Yeah.
He understands that to a degree. Now, and
which is why I think he didn't want Zoe. I mean, not Zoe, but Catwoman to step over that line.
That's right. You're right. That's right.
Like, hey,
that's right.
You are like one of the last people, even though you are dealing with some of the darker elements of the city. You still have that morality. You still have that. You haven't killed someone yet, and done this darker,
or at the very least you're gonna have to live with it. You might think you won't, but you will, right?
Yeah. And he was like, hey, you are like one of the last people that hasn't done anything shady. Stay that way. He's like, it's not just because the situation presenting itself does not mean take that.
Well, as far as he knows, she hasn't done anything shady. I mean, we trust me, I don't think she didn't tell him everything. As far as what he knows about her up to this point, she maybe hasn't ever killed anyone or crossed that line. But
him, we can talk a little short on this about Gordon. I did like Gordon a lot.
Let's not spend too much time on Gordon.
He was
but
very strong.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright's a great actor. Like everything I've seen him in, the dude is really solid actor. And he gave a great performance as Jim Gordon. The accent,
solid. Like he just came in there, did his stuff, and he went home. I just
great banter between them too. Really, their scenes together, I really did enjoy.
The line that gets me every time was when Batman was like, do you trust them? He was like, no, I trust you. I said, I love that dude. Like, he's just like, I'm so in deep into this.
Very witty. Very witty.
Batman's the only one I can trust right now.
Gordon. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright's Gordon. He was witty. He was obviously smart. He was one of the cops that was still outside of working alongside a vigilante to figure out the truth. Outside of that, he was one of the cops that was not corrupted.
Yeah, he's
that wasn't corrupt.
Did a good job. I definitely enjoyed the Gordon. We also had my man Penguin. Of course, he's in that film.
Honestly, Penguin didn't. Okay, completely forgot that was Colin Farrell. Dude, we talked about this, right? We said we didn't know. We didn't really expect or know what he was going to bring to the character, but bald head, obviously put on some weight, completely unrecognizable. He might have been. Man, his performance might be extremely underrated because I guarantee you, there's probably a lot of people that forgot that was Colin Farrell. Because he did that dude, not just from an appearance standpoint, but no, he really disappeared. He really disappeared as Penguin.
It felt like Penguin. Like,
wow,
I wasn't denying that was Penguin. Every time he talked, I was like, oh, you're a little sneaking little slime ball, man. Like, you're up to no good. I know you're trying to sneak Falcone. You're going to stab that man in the back. Like, he felt very much like of course, throughout the entire film, we were trying to figure out who the rat was. He felt like the rat. Like, we all were like, yeah, it's him. Of course, that was the thing. The joke is that they're trying to subvert our expectations by making him not the rat.
Yeah, a rat with wings. That was one of the...
one of
the riddles, that the Riddler kept reiterating in his little messages.
Savage card, and I forgot what the other one was.
Yeah, which we later found out was a URL, which it was like his website or something, or at least that's
I think that's what he had it like. It was
because he
did.
He did.
Talked to him on that. that
right,
log. So that was the whole point we were trying to figure out, and
we found out that the Riddler actually like built up a following. Like it was essentially, I mean, I just call it. It was like a YouTube channel, but he had followers or i.e. subscribers or whatever you want to call it of like real, and these people were like just as
dedicated followers that wanted
dedicated,
to kill
yeah, fringe type. Like I think whoever said it, the real fringe types of people, you know, and we of course we know with people like that, but we know those sort of platforms on those social media platforms exist for people like that. We know those exist. Again,
those extremists that go online talking, they'll build an audience from somewhere. Somebody's going to listen and follow along with them.
Up to this point, he had 507. Because I don't know if you saw it, but they actually showed it. I saw it on the screen.
Fucking lot. Oh my god.
actually, it's not. But
that's a lot
for what you're planning to do, for what his motive is. Yeah, that's
a lot of people,
right?
That are all in agreement that what you're doing is correct and you should be doing.
And even if they're not, even if they didn't necessarily participate in his final plan, even if they weren't participating in it, they were funding it or getting them money or resources, right? Yeah,
I can't make it, but here's $2.
Yeah.
But getting back onto the Penguin, he did a great job. My man's was very much smiling and conniving.
Very creepy,
I want to say, like, of course, there's not like much comic relief in the movie. But he felt like that comic relief.
Yeah, he's probably the most. I don't know if you want to say he's probably the most comic booky character in the whole film. Every other character in this film felt very grounded. If anybody felt comic booky in any way, it was Penguin, which I can understand.
Yeah,
because it's Penguin.
But I think it was also because of the situations he was in. Like he was getting interrogated. He was like, "Oh my god, I got
But here's the thing. I think because it's Penguin, like he has to be. There has to be that comic booky, sort of quirky, comic relief element to him.
Yeah.
I think so. For that character, that it has to be. I think,
Yeah, because I think it's always his iteration is he's always kind of like that. Not goofy, but goofy, I guess is I want to say. Like,
sort of off.
Yeah.
Sort of off in a way,
Because everyone else is so serious, and he's just like, what is this? Like, how am I getting attacked? Like, come on, man. But
he was intimidating, though. This is the most intimidating Penguin that I can remember. Yeah, so there was that. He was somewhat of, the voice and everything, and the fact that he's fat. Yeah, all that does add somewhat of a comical element to it, but still intimidating when he needed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So great performance by Colin Farrell. Great performance.
I want to mention the Batmobile. I did like the way that thing looked.
Let me go first. Okay.
Yeah, go
ahead. That's. Every film when I see the Batmobile, I light up, and in this film, like the same thing happened. Listen, that screeching sound when that fucking car, is powering up, dog. I'm glad you were looking at me, man. I'm like, I was sitting right next to you, man. In the theater, and so there's the scene where we finally see the car. I mean. Technically, he doesn't call it the Batmobile, but for us, it's the Batmobile, and it's essentially a muscle car, right?
Yeah, it's like with Vin Diesel's car from Fast and
Furious. Fast and Furious. It is like that, and I'm trying to think. Was that that wasn't not a Camaro? Is it?
I don't think it was a Camaro, no. But it did look like a muscle variant. I'm just not sure what the muscle variant was.
That thing in the back, what was it?
Like you mean the little nitro thing
where
it's just fire out?
Yeah. I was like, but the sound it made, oh my god! I was like, man, I damn near got erect. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I love the Batmobile.
I love what you're saying because that Batmobile was beautiful. The intro for it, like, because all you hear was
just like it goes.
Yeah, and it starts.
And you're like, oh!
The streets,
I was like, when I heard that and we see it and the lights come on, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not getting away.
Fuck.
Whoever goes up Broadway is not getting away.
Yeah.
And of course, Penguin.
The car chase scene was.
It was great.
Loved it.
Honestly, fantastic. They did a great job with the whole they switching lanes and everything, and we're seeing
from the driver's point of view too. Yeah,
and that's trying to get away.
Well, here's the thing: it's not easy because for me the car chase is really great, but I think the thing that I was most impressed about is it's not easy to film a car chase scene that looks that good in the rain and in traffic. Like it's
it's
amazing
really
how
hard to
good.
see.
It's amazing to me how good that scene looked, even with the fact that it was raining and there was like oncoming traffic. I was actually happy with it. I was like, I was able to follow
the chase was going, the whole way.
It really great. Really impressed with that car chase scene, man. The fact that it was so well shot, and the fact that I could, follow both of the cars, really great. And of course, when Batman takes the basically takes the car.
Shift ramp.
Which. That was in Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, but it was just so not nearly as epic as this one. This shit was epic, and the fact that we don't actually see him, we don't actually see the car take off. We see him going up the makeshift ramp, and then we never see it. But then we see Penguin thinking he's got away from him, and then I loved it. I loved it.
I loved it. Fire.
Comes out, the car merges it through midair, through the fire. Just perfect, man.
They gave a good introduction for the Batmobile.
Well done. Loved it.
I do want to mention Alfred just for a second. I like his Alfred. My man. He's a great actor.
He wasn't in the film enough for me. Andy Serkis. Yeah, it just seemed like that was sort of a letdown for me because Alfred wasn't in enough scenes. They did have that one scene where
and the heart to heart with him.
The heart to heart, but he just didn't seem enough like a factor to me. For me, it wasn't. Maybe he will be in the next movie and in upcoming movies, but for this one, Alfred just a non-factor.
I will keep saying this, and I will die on this hill. I will only gripe with Alfred is that he didn't say Sir or Master Bruce. Those are things he says. It does not matter that he's the father figure to Bruce in this scenario, and he's basically grew like grow up around him. And of course, you wouldn't really see yourself as that way, but that's his butler. Alfred knows he's a butler.
That's right.
Alfred respects that position.
He's the surrogate, and he's the surrogate father. He knows
respects that position, and he always calls Batman Sir or Master Bruce.
That's
and that was my only gripe with him is that he didn't call him that, but.
Made it feel like even less, even more not like Alfred.
Because Alfred just knows that that's his. Even though he knows that he's like the surrogate father in that sense, he knows his role as butler.
That's right. He never stepped. He respects that position. Right. That's right.
And so he didn't call him Sir or Master Bruce, but besides all of that, he did do a solid job for the parts he were in. I did enjoy that little moment of even though he was hurt,
the Riddler does try to kill.
He tries to kill him
by way of bomb. By way of bombs.
Of course, Bruce cares and stuff, but then when he finds out about his father, he's kind of like, dude, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, he went off. Yeah, he went off on Alfred. That was kind of an uncomfortable scene for me because I didn't really understand where Bruce was coming from.
I think it's
for him to press Alfred like that, and I'm like, really. You were a little kid, man. When your parents were, of course, he's not going to tell you this shit.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't tell you this stuff.
But maybe because Bruce was emotional, maybe he was, or he wasn't thinking clearly or thinking enough that, hey, of course, Alfred would have a reason. Right? Yeah,
dude, I wouldn't tell you when you're 5 years
old.
Right,
that's right. And when would be the right time? Yeah,
of course, I could tell you when you're an adult, but when's the weird time to be let me sit down and tell you about what your father did? No, it's more of a thing where if it comes up, then I'll explain it to you, but I've never had a chance or reason to, so I'm going to leave it to, I'm not going to tell you about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you keep thinking, which is what Alfred said, that your dad was a wonderful man, and he was. He doesn't matter what he did before his last moments, what he did throughout his life leading up to that moment, he was a great person. Yeah, and I want you to keep that mindset of what he was.
That's right. Yeah, that was a great scene. I just wish there had been more scenes. It's a 3 hour movie. I could have used a little bit more Alfred.
Yeah, they could. I'm assuming they're going to give him more fleshed out stuff in the later films. But I know you'll say you'll like this one, the Batcave. Nice Batcave. It looked.
Somebody has played Injustice before, because the Batcave is essentially the Batcave. It's eerily similar to the one in Injustice 2. And I was so much that I went, holy shit! Yeah, it's copy and paste.
Yeah,
holy shit, that was copy and paste.
Similar to it. So I definitely enjoyed the Batcave.
But I'm down with
approach to it. I did enjoy my man. He's Batman used his motorcycle more often.
Definitely.
Very much interesting. Not stealthy, but that's his his stealth way of getting around.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, he can park it anywhere.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. He doesn't really. It's he has a car, but it's not the Batmobile. That's what I'm saying. I'm calling it the Batmobile, but when you actually watch this film, it's not. As far as the model, it's essentially just a regular muscle car,
right? With some armor on it.
That's right. Yeah. An armored muscle car. That's essentially what it is in totality. Maybe he will when he starts making when he gets his funds back up, and starts running his company like, he's supposed to, and, making profits, then, he can spend some of that, on, another car, get him an actual Batmobile. But him, so Batman maneuvering through the city by motorcycle, again, is how grounded in realism this film is. That completely made sense.
Swinging around in the muscle car all the time.
Yeah, right. Of course,
if you want to get around more stealthily, you would use your motorcycle. And he has like his little. He's wearing all black, so you really can't see him that well. He drives around, gets to his place. My man's wearing eyeshadow somehow everywhere he goes, because every time he puts a Batman on, now he's got eyeshadow.
Yeah, I don't really know if that's needed.
I get it. He's normally wearing it, but they don't really draw attention to it. But it's more of a focus thing now because of how emo Batman is.
Yeah.
He's got the eyeshadow look. But, he gets around his little motorcycle. I want to mention that I did like... I didn't. I liked it, but I also was kind of like more iffy about it, was that they had this ending that wasn't super happy. All right, so
let's get into Riddler's plan. Here we go. We might as well. I mean, we've been going for an hour 30.
Cool. Yeah, we should. Yeah.
He strategically places 7 vans filled with explosives around the city seawall. The seawall
perimeter of the city.
And again, if I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the review, but this film takes place over the span of 1 week. October 30th, Halloween night, which is when Riddler makes, he murders Mayor Don Mitchell, who's again is up for re-election. It's election week.
Yeah.
And again, social political tone of the film. Again, that sets the tone for it. November 6th.
November 6th. It starts 31st to November 6th.
Yes, is election night. So the vans so he has the van set to explode on election night. What that would do is the city would begin to become flooded. Water would begin rushing into the city, and this is probably, of all the Batman films, well, this is right up there with Bane's plan. Really, it almost, I don't want to say it's at the yeah.
Didn't Bane have bombs too?
Yeah, well, it was he had bombs, but then a big bomb. No, he set bombs on the bridges but essentially same thing Riddler is doing to prevent anyone from escaping, from leaving. But Riddler, his explosives was for everybody who didn't essentially get to Madison Square Garden, which is where they were essentially holding the actual election
decision.
The decision or whatever. Yeah. But that's
like
essentially
a final rally.
The rally. Yeah, that's essentially what the flood would force the people who didn't get swept up. Who are out on the outskirts of the city, the people that were probably in the city or near that. That's where they would take refuge. It was basically in Madison Square Garden, aka Gotham Square Garden. It's New York. And so there were people that would evacuate to the garden that were still alive. Then they would essentially be running into
like a shooting range.
That's what it was.
Riddler,
he had a number.
Had done that little live stream which we talked about, and
Riddler had some of his followers, stationed at the billboard above. I believe it was above the jumbotron.
Yeah, the jumbo. They were on the jumbo, like on the catwalk in the jumbo area.
It's there, and they were in there, with armed with
it was like sniper rifles,
machine guns, and they were just gonna kill everybody.
As the Riddler, they were dressed as him, kind of like
same,
right. What I am Spartacus type shit,
there you go, or I am vengeance. Remember that's what that one dude said. The one dude that actually did talk, who was one of the followers, and then they were just gonna it was basically fish in a barrel, man. They were just gonna start picking people off, shoot everybody, kill everybody. That's right.
They kill the mayor-elect. I forgot her first name, but her last name was Rio. And that was the joke of her campaign slogan was
she was so
keeping it real.
She was so freaking goody two shoes, man. She was so cartoony. It wasn't even.
She was too cartoony for her being the new mayor.
As soon as she started talking, like we knew, okay, she's going to be the mayor, she's gonna win, or
like of course
she's gonna be the next mayor, right?
The city's so corrupt,
right? Yeah. So
because when she talked, we gotta like bring this up. When she was, like
that's
talking
the
to Wayne,
problem.
at Wayne's funeral.
Yeah.
Wayne, you've not called me back like 5 times now. We need to talk about this.
Right.
Like,
really? Why him? He's going broke. What the fuck you gonna get out of him? He's losing money right now.
Like,
seriously.
His head off at this funeral.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're at a funeral. You don't want to talk about this right now.
We,
like, hey, Wayne, talk to me afterwards. Walk off.
We get it. Like we get it. They were trying to convey that she has not yet been corrupted by the mob or anything like that. But oh my God, do you really have to make her so freaking virtuous that she's not even believable?
Yeah.
If anything, she comes off as even more phony.
Yeah.
So I was like, even though that's not what they were making her to be, but that's how she comes off to me. So
yeah, they were trying to make her be so goody two shoes that she was too goody two shoes.
Where it was too annoying. Oh, yeah, that's the problem with people in this city. Nobody's willing to stand up for what's right.
Girl, you just got
I'm gonna walk out. Yeah, which kind of made me. I was like, oh, thank God. I don't want to be. I'm sorry.
I mean, of course, like she wasn't listening, and they're like telling her, like, bro, they're trying to kill you. It's a murder attempt. It's not like a fucking just we're trying to like get you out of get you off stage or something like that. They're trying to take your life. We're trying to get you out of here so that you can live and be the mayor.
Right. So if you get killed, then you can't be mayor. You can't change the effing city, idiot.
And she's like, no.
Who doesn't understand that? Who doesn't understand that? That's what I mean by she was cartoony.
Yeah, it's like the president. Like if something was going on where everybody else was getting sniped off the earth. We wouldn't want the president to stay around, sticking around, trying to get shot.
Yeah.
Of course, that's great. He wants to be involved, but we want our leader to survive so we can continue on with our stuff.
That's
so
right.
We got to get you to safety first, and then
address the people.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you got to leave this up to people that can actually do something about it.
Dude,
that can handle the situation.
Telling us to get up and be ready to go.
Yeah.
What's gonna do?
Yeah.
So,
but apart from that, but in the garden, so that takes place, and Batman, of course, he gets to the roof and starts taking them out one-on-one again, the suit just taking all types of gunfire.
Snipers.
And here's the thing. Batman actually did use a gun to kill somebody. I know you didn't catch it, but I don't know if you saw it. But here's how they did it. So he actually did. He actually did shoot somebody. He grabbed one guy's gun, and when the guy fired it, and he like pointed it away from himself, but when he fired it hit. So I'm sorry, but that counts as a kill. I'm sorry, Batman. You did use a gun and you did kill somebody.
Is it kill?
Accidental, but it's a.
Or is it more like he just redirected it?
He redirected the gun. Yeah. So it's half a kill. Half a kill. I'm sorry, but that made me laugh because I didn't notice it the first time I saw the film. When I went back the second time and I saw that, I was like, oh.
I'm telling you.
You did it. You shot him. No, you shot. That's what I was saying. I was like, no, you killed somebody, Batman. You shot somebody. You just used a gun. Wow. I caught it. They thought nobody would catch it because it was very quick. But he didn't because he didn't stop to look and realize what just happened. He didn't stop and look at the guy like, oh shit, I just shot him. He just kept on firing, understandably so, but still, I caught that though.
Yeah.
I caught that.
So they my man.
So Batman can never say he's never used it. And I'm not talking about that dream sequence in Dawn of Justice. Like this shit happened in real time.
Yeah, he did pop that.
So he's half a murderer. It made sense, but he's still sorry. Murder is murder.
I can agree on that. That's a half a kill right there.
That's half a kill.
Technically at the end they didn't win. Right. He got Riddler's in jail.
Oh, and not only that, but he had Catwoman, of course, aids him. She gets away with that. Why she doesn't have the fucking mask, I don't know. She had her suit, but she didn't have her mask on.
I will give that. Her mask was terrible. Of course, it's like a little ski mask.
Yes, it's a ski mask.
And it did not look good. And of course, that's why she didn't wear it that often. And of course, because Zoe Kravitz is the actress, so they're gonna make sure her face is out. But it did not really work for me. That mask situation. I much would have preferred maybe she had a hoodie situation. Maybe
no, a hood wouldn't have worked either. Because you can knock a hood backward. You can.
Well, not like a hoodie. I'm talking about it's like something that's attached. You can pull it over. That would have been better than this little weird ski mask thing she had going on, which is of course why she didn't wear it.
Oh, well, I was just wondering why. Oh, so she didn't wear it because it was ugly.
I would assume it was.
I was wondering what she had it every other time she was Catwoman.
I mean, she was doing it during her stealth espionage moments. Her when she was going through trying to sneak places.
But she does have to protect. But she still has to protect her identity. She doesn't want anybody to recognize her.
I assume that's why they must not have cared about it because it was Zoe Kravitz. You know, she's very attractive. They want to make sure her face is out there, and they also realized it didn't look that great. I'm just for me, when I'm looking at it, it did not look that great, and they might have thought like in hindsight they were like, for the last scene, we don't think she should wear it, and they might have been like, just skip that, have her no mask.
I actually didn't think it looked that bad. I didn't. It's really practical.
And it's practical. That's basically what that was. But at the end, they did not win. They, basically Gotham. A lot of people died. A lot of people did not make it through that flooding, and Batman is basically there to help rebuild because Riddler kind of won. He even though he's in jail and he didn't really get away with too much, he definitely got away with the big plan he was going.
Yeah, let's put this in context. So essentially, let's see, there are 6 million people living on the island of New York. I mean, if we're going by logistics, and there may have been, as far as the people that made it to the garden and that did manage to evacuate, really didn't have any intentions of doing anything to people living in Jersey. So he was like, just New York or aka Gotham. Jersey's like, fuck Jersey. You know what I mean?
He was trying to cut off New York from everybody else. Yeah, he was like, New York.
He's like, man, I ain't worried about Jersey, man. Jersey is fucking a cesspool. Like, no offense, but hey.
I don't think I have to do anything.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, look, he's like, I'm just gonna focus on Gotham, man. Jersey's just gonna be Jersey, whatever, you know.
Yes. So
assuming Jersey exists in this universe, but he's like, whatever.
And
no, it's just New York. No, but essentially, there may be a couple thousand people that actually made it into the.
People that might have been in the high buildings at the time too. They might have made.
You're right. Yeah, the water only got so high. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, when they were in Gotham Square Garden, it was like waist level.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
A lot of people,
so maybe not,
might have made it, but it wasn't a lot per se.
There was death. There were definitely some people that, absolutely.
Batman can save them all, and I think that's what they were also trying to draw into too, as well. That Batman is not Superman. He's not going to be there to save everybody else.
That's right.
So it's going to be those times where he wins, but he doesn't really fully win. There's an L somewhere in there, and that was the L where the flooding did happen. It did work, and a lot of people were taken out by that flood. And I really I don't really enjoy it, but I do like that new aspect of it doesn't have to be a happy ending.
It is as far as the statute of limitations of what can happen and what can't happen. This film does fall very much in line with the same statute of limitations that were in Nolan's trilogy. The fact that you just can't prevent, and of course this the Justice League are not other superhero characters are more fantastical characters with supernatural abilities just don't exist in this world as far as we know. So when somebody devises a plan, and again the Riddler took this, he spent 20 years putting this plan together. All these clues is 20 years. Again, so because I think he started doing this whenever he left the orphanage. So again, so that actually does give us more insight into how old he was. Because assuming, I don't know, whenever he left, he probably would have been like, I don't know, a teenager or a preteen, or I don't know, but still relatively a young man and similar in age to Bruce. So it is interesting. They did leave the film does end on somewhat of a cliffhanger of what now, what's next.
Somber
and very somber note. There's the city. Technically, the city wasn't saved. I mean, the villain was apprehended, and they stopped. They stopped it from
more stuff.
From everybody dying. They prevented from everybody dying, but still,
people still died. People still were lost. It was still
the National Guard has been brought in. Supplies are resources are going to be short. It's man. It is. Gotham is definitely in dire straits, and in the very ending monologue that that Bruce is giving, he's like, he basically calls it things are only going to get worse because now. There is no Falcone's dead, so there is no one. And it's up for grabs. It's like the seat on the throne as far as who's the most powerful, who's the king of Gotham, quote unquote, is open. It's open.
Yeah.
So there's going to be different factions and different mobsters grabbing that. So things are going to get a lot worse before they get better.
Very much a power struggle going
Yeah.
on. I do think we can actually turn this into the music score too at this moment.
Great score.
Yes, great score. And I want to bring up that they did use a Nirvana song at the beginning of the movie and at the end with that monologue he did say at the end.
Something in the Way?
Yes, that was the name of the song. And it was very, very well used.
Set the tone, didn't it?
Yes,
Set the tone.
Yes, it was like it starts off very slow. It starts off with this kind of like very slow beat.
And I didn't see the I didn't see the opening credits, the very beginning of the film. Both times when I saw it, I missed the first 5 minutes of the film.
For him, so I let him know.
Okay.
But
so was that song was playing like
They used it
during the opening credits, like
you were there for that part because when he fought the bad guys, it was that song playing in the background when he went to go fight them. So yeah, they were building it up throughout when they were going through all the clips of Gotham, kind of showing every aspect of guy dropping a can, singing it, and it falls into the shadows. So he's like, I'm gonna go get that. I'm gonna just leave that can right there.
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that part?
I don't think I saw that.
Oh, okay. So,
I came in right after Riddler killed Mayor. Because I asked you what had happened, and you told me it was like. I came in right after he had killed Don Mitchell, the mayor.
I want to say it happened after that because that was the whole speech about how like everybody has something to fear because.
I was there. I was there for that.
That was that song playing in the background for that part, so it was kind of setting that scene. So I definitely enjoyed the way they were setting it up with using that song. Of course, the Batman theme was fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah.
We were just talking about
Michael Giacchino. We before we started this review, we looked up his his resume and other projects that he's been tied to, and he's
a beast.
Yeah, he is a beast. He is a beast. Coco, The Incredibles,
he's got a resume to spout about.
Yeah,
he was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, all that stuff that.
Yeah.
So he's got a good.
So and this is his first time doing the score for a Matt Reeves film. So they've. Yeah, 2014 Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So they've worked together before.
Yeah, the Batman theme fits so well with the character. It definitely felt. We were talking about how it kind of reminisced of like Darth Vader's theme. March
of the Empire, something like that. March.
So yeah, that was it's very reminiscent of that one at like the very beginning of it, but it's super like menacing and very like you can feel it looming over when you're listening to the song. I definitely think they used their score very well throughout the films with each scene that it was incorporated in. The Batman theme, the Nirvana song, any other themes they were using, they used it very well. That it wasn't like distracting, but it also helped build up the moments they were going for and the beats they were trying to make throughout the movie. The score was great.
Very much. This was very much. It's not obviously it's not in black and white, but the fact that how they use darkness in so many different scenes, especially when we watch the city, like the way Gotham looks, very not very vibrant, but in a different way. Like I don't mean like how Zack Snyder used fucking color gradient in his film. I think that's what you call it, but
something like that. Like he just.
This is better though. It's just
dark on purpose.
This
one felt like it was
that blue tint. I just ill. Yeah, it just doesn't work. Like orange, sort of like an off orange, works better with black. We're wrapping it up. Well, so now we only have future prospects for next film and rating the movie.
Okay,
that's all we got left.
We'll talk about the future prospects real quick, and then we'll give the rating of the film.
I don't really have a whole lot to say as far as future prospects because as far as what direction DC's going in, I don't know what that direction is because now we have two Batmans.
Yeah, that's true.
Affleck is still Batman. He's still going to be playing Batman in the Snyderverse, essentially. And now we have this Batman. So two separate universes. We assumed they kind of had to do this when they did Joker, but we thought, but when they said that Joker isn't going to be tied to Affleck's Batman or even Pattinson's Batman, it was like, okay, so what now? Are there three universes? Like,
I'm assuming that's what they're going for.
And so I think there is no one central focus. I think for DC
right now.
I think there's a DCEU and there's just
independent films of certain characters that are not connected to the DCEU.
Yeah, there you go.
But they're all there.
Which that alone does make it different from Marvel. It does.
Yeah,
It might not be
because Marvel's trying to make an interlocking story where everything connects, and this one they're kind of like, we have an interlocking story, but we also have these bunch of independent films that have nothing to do with
and this. And this is something that I've been saying, and I know other people who follow these films, who love these films, have been saying the same thing. DC. I would prefer if DC separated themselves from the Marvel model. Do not use the Marvel model. Be your own thing. If that means having multiple universes or one universe and then just having a bunch of tertiary type of projects, that's fine. But you do not need to copy as far as their formula and their direction. Do your own thing, and DC's doing that. So does that mean that every movie that they drop is going to be good? Does that mean that everything's going to be a home run? No, it doesn't. There will be bad films. There have been bad films in the DCEU, and well, honestly, all the films. Birds of Prey wasn't good. But
I like the Suicide Squad, man. That was good.
Yeah. So actually, they've had more hits than misses as far as films that aren't directly tied to the DCEU.
Yeah.
So I can't really complain too much about these films not being tied to each other. Yeah, because they've been for the most part, most of them have been good. I've enjoyed them. So it's really up in the air. But like, what do you think as far as
so of
direction?
course they already have casting and stuff. So they might have the solidified things. But for me, knowing that this film is more grounded and definitely won't deal with any fantastical people, like I was saying, I don't think Poison Ivy. I honestly don't want to see Mr. Freeze because I don't want them to go into that fantastical type thing. Of course, science exists. Of course, they can make stuff, but I don't think an ice blaster is out here just chilling and someone just got it.
It's tough. That's
that
right.
That don't feel weird. I heard Clayface is getting casted
and
too.
How would they do that?
Too.
I wonder. Yeah, how would you? It's not so much we don't want to see. We would, but you've already set the
very realistic.
That's right. This is very contemporary, very almost hyper realistic. So that means we have to. That disqualifies so many characters. We already know the heroes that disqualifies, but as far as the villains.
Yeah, he basically cut off a lot of them that in his gallery that do have more fantastical powers.
So and things that defy physics, and certain elements to them. Yeah, so Mr. Freeze.
So I don't want to see them in there. If anything, I want to see.
I don't want to see Scarecrow again. I don't want to see Scarecrow again.
I wouldn't be mad about it if they did him correctly. But I mean, of course they can do him correctly. But if they do him in fear, maybe like a parallel, just how they kind of.
He had that serum, which is pretty. It's.
I was thinking maybe they did more like a comparison what they did with Riddler and Batman. They could do one with Batman does the fear to get criminals, and he does the fear to get everybody. And they might do that comparison. That might work. Yeah. But I told Tyler about it a little bit before we started. But I was talking to my dad about the film, and he told me Victor Zsasz.
That would make sense.
I would like to see him in one of these films.
Just have Batman, going ahead trying to stop a hitman. Hey, or not as the main villain, but maybe he's hired by another villain. But Victor Zsasz definitely works in this universe.
Jumbotron and be like, Batman, this spot's for you. That would be so dope. I would love that. So that could do a good thing with that. I also think Mad Hatter would be a good choice for one of the villains because he could do kind of like a rhyming scheme, kind of like the Riddler, but it's more S to the Alice in Wonderland way. So it'd be kind of funny to see this little mini guy out here rhyming about Alice in Wonderland and Batman's figured out.
I'm not laughing about Mad Hatter. It's just that, dude. Deathstroke has just been in the wind.
Dude, they dropped him in freaking Batman vs Superman for like a little end credit.
No, Justice League.
Oh yeah, that shit.
No.
It was Batman vs Superman.
You're right. Yeah, end credit scene, and it's like it hasn't been.
They could do him.
I haven't seen him since. That
would be great. And I think it'd work too.
They could do Deathstroke, but just...
We both mentioned that we don't want the next films to be like jumps of time.
Right.
I would love for Batman to be super young Batman, third year or whatever, and he's fighting Deathstroke and Deathstroke whooping the ass because he know how to fight. Mm-hmm. That would be great, and seeing Batman have to figure out a way to fight him because he's so much better at him in combat.
But the thing is, wait a minute, if you bring in Deathstroke, that means... So would he have the League of Shadows tie if you're using slaves?
Well, Deathstroke's always just been a mercenary, so he could be contracted by anybody. It could be a high official who just wants Batman dead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you don't have to use League of Shadows.
Yeah, you don't have to touch them. You can do
for Deathstroke anyway. As far as his Court
of Owls.
You know what? That's probably what they're doing. That's probably what they're gonna do. No, I see that because that's in Gotham Knights video game. That's gonna be that's in the Gotham Knights video game.
Joining that crap, man, that'd be awesome.
I did a video on that. Yeah, Talon. Yeah. You know what? I think Court of Owls. I see Court of Owls movie in the future with this Batman. Yep.
We could totally see him. I'm trying to think of anyone else at the moment that's like catching my eye. They might be able to do Two-Face. Two-Face. I don't know. Maybe he might be. I mean, of course, just him being burned on the face is not that like fantastical, so they could do it. I'm just trying to think of anyone else that might just pop in my head. Hugo Strange could be someone that he deals with.
Oh yeah. Can't forget about Hugo Strange. Yeah.
Him. I don't see them doing Ra's because the pit is very magical and stuff.
Yeah. No Lazarus pit. Yeah, no. Can't. So, I don't think they can do that. I don't know. It would just seem odd for them to introduce these supernatural elements in like because we didn't get any sort of at least they didn't hint that these sort of things exist in this universe. So it would be kind of no indicator. So it would seem weird for you to all of a sudden just incorporate this stuff into the sequel or the third movie.
Most definitely.
I think in a way, you have to establish that early on. That's just my opinion.
In the first film, we should have known that there was someone out there that could shoot ice blasts.
Right. I mean, it's the same way because they did it with Ra's in Batman Begins. Okay, so there are characters that can, there's that supernatural element.
Yeah,
but
like we
because
know
you didn't do that,
live forever. Then
right?
We know. There's someone else can do some other shit out here.
Yeah. So because you don't establish that in the first film, it's just going to seem kind of
out of left field.
Yeah. So like I said, this is very much Detective Batman. This is a grounded Batman, and all the other characters are too. So
they have to stick with the more grounded villains. So those are like my picks for next one. If they want to use any of those, but of course, hearing that they are casting for Mr. Freeze and Clayface, they must be going into more of a fantastical, magical realm. But it's not necessary. I think we're all okay with it being very grounded. I think, especially since this was a strong first film, and that we never had to tap into it. Bane could be an option. I know they have Bane in another film already, so they might never touch Bane again right now. But they could make him be that whole thing. I
think you'd actually have to make him, give him his original background, which was as a luchador wrestler. I mean,
could we tap into the Venom? Is that too magical?
Right? Yeah, maybe.
No. So
steroid. Well, I don't know.
Steroids.
I guess.
It could be steroids. Like a high advanced steroid. Sort.
So you could. Yeah, you could do Bane. You could do Bane, but go with the wrestler like background. I think so. Not so much the mercenary. Again, League of Shadows.
Thrown in, the story is like a kid got thrown into jail, grew up in jail, or some crap like that. I want to say that's what it was. Or he was always in jail or something. It was something of that mess. But yeah, he was a luchador fighter. I think they could do Bane. Those like out of my just picks. I wanted Victor Zsasz or Mad Hatter for the next film. Okay. One of those two would be my pick for the next film, just because those are very esque to somewhat what the Riddler was doing in this film. He was like a mass murderer, doing the serial killer type thing. And they could also do it in a dark approach, just because Zsasz is someone who has all those cuts all over his body. And then Mad Hatter also does the Riddler's type of riddle.
Madam, what's her name? Is it Madam Arkham? Was that her name? Remember? From the Batman Telltale series?
Crap.
Maybe that.
They could do, yeah. I wouldn't be mad about that.
That could definitely work.
What was it? Shiva? Is that the one who would fight the hand-to-hand? She always whooping Batman ass because she better at him in fighting? I think I would love to see that. Shiva.
Lady Shiva.
Okay. Yeah, we can see Lady Shiva.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like I'm saying, Deathstroke or Lady Shiva have someone that can beat him in fighting, and he has to find another way to beat them. That would be so great to see, especially with not doing a time jump where he's like 5 years in the future or whatever. Do like 30 years. He's still not that great at fighting yet. Or he's good enough, but he's not good enough to fight one of them. One of the ones that have been training for years. This stuff.
But the thing is, what would the mystery be with Deathstroke? Because that's
fair.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to figure out who ordered the kills, who ordered it. I don't know. Maybe they find out. He's trying to figure out.
You could do that with anybody. You could do that with Deadshot, or it would essentially be the same film as the Riddler film, but it's interesting.
Maybe just find out who's having a hit on Batman. I don't know. That'd be the thing. I think that could be a pretty interesting thing to go about. Just Batman getting his ass whooped one time. He's like, these guys are good.
I'm gonna have to go with that. And also, we do know that Bloodhaven exists. So again,
Bloodhaven does.
But here's the thing. Okay, look, I want Nightwing to have his own standalone film. So please do not give me Dick Grayson. I don't want any iteration. I don't care as a little boy or not. No. No Joker. I don't want no Joker. Leave Joker out of this, please. They'll still put this.
You think Barbara gonna come in there soon?
Oh shit, we didn't even damn.
Man, you didn't touch on Barbara.
No,
so she might come into another film. I feel like she might.
And we don't
you know why I think she's gonna be in the next one? I mean, not next one, but in one of those films. It's because Catwoman's gone now. He has to have a love interest.
That's right. That's right.
So it might try to do a Barbara situation. I feel like that's what they're gonna try to do.
Yeah, it better not be Talia. Oh my god.
I don't, because they do Talia. Then Ra's has to be a part.
They didn't do her right. They didn't do her right in Dark Knight Rises.
I don't want Talia.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were all like.
They would have to make Barbara the love interest. Now I think about it,
they did
either that or Vicky Vase.
I was thinking of Vicky. I was thinking that when they should have had Vicky appear in there and something, just a note that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking if they're going to switch out and they didn't have Catwoman in the film, Vicky Vase could be his love interest. Or is it Vicky Vale? I think it's
Vicky Vale. Sorry,
yeah,
Vicky
I
Vale.
think she would be his love interest for this film if she was in it. But they might do Barbara for a love interest for another film. Okay. I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah. All right. So, shall we?
We can rate it. All
right. Okay, so this was one of the best Batman films I've seen. On its own, it's definitely top 5 for me. Definitely top 5. I'd even slide it for now top 3. So I haven't. It's been a while since I've rated them. I'll have to go through them in my head. But for me right now, The Batman, as it's called, Dark Knight is 1, of course. Dark Knight is 1. The Batman it's top 5 for me right now. It might be 2, but I'll just have to redo my list now because of course you got to update the list once a new Batman movie comes out. So top 5 for me at this moment. And as far as out of, should we do it? How do we do it? Do we do out of 10?
I'm gonna do out of 10. Yeah.
I'm gonna give this film. It's not perfect. Very hardly. I don't really think any movie is, but my gripes and nitpicks considered, this film is a 9 for me, or like an 8, like an 8.9. I think this film is a solid 9.
Dude, I'm like in between 8 and
9. 8.5 or a 9.
I'm like an 8 or 9. When I first finished watching the movie, it was a 9.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it very much, and I was like, yes. But actually, kind of really discussing it and really getting in depth with it and really thinking it out, some of the smaller issues that it has with the film can bring it down to an 8 for me. But I do think it is, for me, the best Batman film they had so far because of Detective Batman. Detective Batman is a big part.
Yes.
We haven't
Detective
seen
Batman, we have not seen that.
So
yes,
it is a huge part for me.
And him breaking down clues, breaking down, the Riddler's clues was that scene was fan-fucking-tastic.
It was
loved
great.
it. I loved it.
I love that he was piecing this whole thing together, and then we're along for the ride.
That was beautiful.
And we're
you know how many films can't pull that off? Don't yes, in a way, it was a montage, but it was that was such a really great scene. I really enjoyed it, and I guess because we hadn't really seen that, I can't recall ever seeing Batman go that in depth in his detective work of piecing together. Things. He'd been doing that all throughout the movie. But
when does Batman return to a crime scene and look at things again?
That's right. That was beautiful. Right, exactly.
Yeah, he left.
We've never seen him do that.
He left the Riddler's apartment after already doing all the search.
Right.
And he came
at
back.
the beginning, and then comes back and goes. And then finds out, the carpet, like that's, you would think like in so many other films, in so many other like detective films or mystery films, that would be.
They go one time, they figure out what they need to get to, and they'll go.
Well, they do revisit crime in some, depending on which ones you've seen. Yeah. They'll revisit the crime scene and be like, oh yeah, I didn't catch that the first time, but the fact that we saw that in this film.
Yeah, it was the Batman we don't.
That was great. Exactly. That was
I give it a big high rating for that.
And him not having to rely on Lucius for clues or this is literally. Alfred, yes, he had Gordon.
Alfred really wasn't that helpful either.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he was kind of like Alfred.
No, it's basically Gordon. Gordon was basically his partner crime, and Catwoman was there too. But
it was Batman figuring this whole thing.
That's right.
I really did enjoy that,
which was beautiful.
I will keep saying it's like watching a freaking Arkham game, and those games are so great, and to see this like in a movie format was fan freaking tastic. So I gotta give it a high rating. I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think for me, it personally is my favorite Batman film just because of being Detective Batman. But those Dark Knight films are really good. They definitely do hold up very strongly, and
it's better. This film is better than Dark Knight Rises holds sentimental value to me, but I have to say, if I'm being honest, this is a better film than The Dark Knight Rises. It is better.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's better.
That's totally fair.
Even though I love Dark Knight Rises, but it's better. So your rating out of 10, what'd you get?
9 out of 10.
9?
I'm giving the same thing, 9 out of 10. I was trying to like contemplate it was an 8 out of 10, but I think a 9 is pretty strong just because it's a Batman we haven't seen, and they did it well the first time.
I didn't think it was gonna be this good, man. I really didn't think it was gonna be as good as it was.
No, I don't think.
I didn't think I was gonna be ranking it this high after. I really didn't.
When we were talking about Pattinson in that other podcast, man, I was terrified of seeing this movie. I was like, dude, I don't want it to be bad.
I was nervous too.
And I was like, when I finally finished it, I was like, okay, we got some places to go with this. We have a lot to like really dive into.
I'm excited for the next movie. I'm really excited for the sequel.
I'm ready to hear they're in development. I'm ready to hear that they're working on scenes and stuff. They're getting trailer hype again. Like, dude, we have been waiting for this, and this is what they delivered, and they delivered it so well. They pulled this off.
So because this is the first of what we expect, we're expecting a trilogy. How do you think this compares to Batman Begins? Because that was the first of the Nolan trilogy compared to this one. What do you think?
I gotta hear your thoughts. I'm thinking.
Well, because this Batman is so unique in that he's in the beginning, he's in the experimental stages of his hero career. And the fact that in Batman Begins, Batman he essentially had the whole superhero thing down, essentially.
Yeah.
This one's still trying to figure out, certain things that he's still a little rough around the edges that he hasn't completely, refined. Because it's that, and because they did it so well, I like this Batman more. And I guess maybe I'm showing an age bias because if you think Riddler, Catwoman, and Batman are all in the same age range, which I thought was great. Which is great. So to me, I think we're probably gonna end up being more emotionally invested in this Batman because he's so close to our age. Like, he's not in his late 30s or early 40s when they're starting
to figure stuff out.
Yeah, like we are, essentially, right? He's at the same stage that we're at. He's just a billionaire. But he's still, He definitely he's a young man. That's right. Much more relatable.
Older Batman who's got it all figured out, who knows what he's doing, who isn't really like taking anybody's crap. This Batman, he's not taking anybody's crap, but he's
right. And he knows how to blend in with society. Like the one in Nolan's Batman and also previous other Batmans, like they understood how to move. This one, like you said, still figuring it out, which makes him more relatable to us, I guess. So for me, I like this film more than Batman Begins. That does not take away from the fact that Batman Begins is an excellent movie.
Batman
excellent movie. It's one of the best comic book films, but this one is too.
Yeah, they definitely
one of the best comic book films, both of them.
They did their research on the Batman. I definitely think whoever was on the film besides Matt Reeves, everybody else that was on that film, they know their Batman and they respect it and love it.
Excellent. Yeah,
they put respect on his name.
This was I really enjoyed this interpretation of Batman. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. In the future, and also the way they end this movie. Like, you didn't think shit was gonna be this drastic. I figured he's gonna stop the Riddler, but
I didn't think it was.
It's basically it's basically the city is basically
underwater.
Right.
And everyone,
Gotham at the end of this film. It's where it's in the same condition that Gotham was in at the beginning of the last season of the TV series.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it took like seven seasons of Gotham to where they got to like that point where the city was essentially on freaking lockdown, and the National Guard was coming in and shit like that. But like after this first movie, it's like, damn, we're there.
We're already there. They built that up in 3 hours.
right. That was like, damn.
Yeah, they definitely.
So you can't help but see what happens next. You really can't. If it was like where we stopped the villain. There weren't a whole lot of casualties. The city was still very much in the same shape it was at the beginning. Some people might want to bypass, the second film, whatever. But now I gotta see the city.
Yeah, I gotta know what's going on with the city. We're still dealing with flood damage. With Batman, not Batman, but Bruce Wayne. Is he in the hole?
Yeah, right.
Is he in the hole yet? I gotta learn this kind of stuff. So they
very excited to see what they come up with next in this, because this is definitely going to be a fun trilogy if they do a trilogy. I'm
and like I said, some people might not want to ride with this because it's not so much. This isn't so much an action movie. Like I said, the fight scenes were very short and few and far between. But I think for children, I think it depends on what demographic you are. If you're a preteen or a little kid, a 3-hour Detective Batman might not work for you, because like when we were in the theater, like, you know, I was like, why would you bring why would you bring an M toddler to this film?
Like, Riddler was dark, dude. Riddler was taping some dude's face.
Yeah,
like, how do you want to let some kids see this?
This is very much a Batman for us, I think, for our demographic,
the young adult range.
That's right.
More, you know,
even though it's not rated R, it's not rated R. Even though we'd be we dig it. We could dig it.
Dude,
I could dig a rated R Batman film, but this one doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be rated R.
It doesn't need to be. I feel like it gave off like not rated R feelings, but it did. Like at the same time, like it's not rated R, but the themes
like
they were going for,
a soft rated R, or like a hard PG-13 that they call it.
Blew up, like the dude died. He's not coming back. Most like I mean, of course you can kill people in PG-13, but they try to do it in a more easier way to understand.
They definitely pushed the limits as far as a PG-13 rating. They pushed it. They pushed it with this film. They really did push it.
I know. I think you entered.
Seeing Zoe Kravitz in underwear. You know,
I think he's there when Mitchell like got bashed in the head in the beginning. Like that shit was dark. You could hear the squishing as he's hitting the dude's head.
You didn't see any blood though.
No.
There wasn't hardly any blood in this.
I get why they probably didn't do
so
that.
that keeps it from being rated R. Yeah, essentially, there wasn't hardly.
I mean, like
blood.
the themes they were going for, like, dude, that's for like older teenagers.
Didn't Catwoman? Didn't she get like?
She clawed somebody's face?
Well, but she got hit in the face with like a cane or something like that. That definitely would drew some blood. Like nothing happened to her face either. Nothing happens to anybody's face.
Everyone's face is made out of vibranium.
Yeah.
This man Batman
they have to stay pretty. They have to stay pretty.
Yeah, man took a point blank explosion to the face, walks off.
And even so much so, like remember when Batman was like beating that guy's face in when they were on top of the Jumbotron. Remember how like his face was like all like purple and
it wasn't like bleeding. It was just like red, like he just got hit a lot. They were definitely trying to skimp around the blood, which I understand. You know, you don't want to go for the R rating. It's a harder appeal to sell to people.
And now that dang, I probably should have brought that up, but I promise I won't stress this out too much longer. At first, I thought when he shoots himself with the adrenaline, which by the way he did pull that from his belt. We were debating whether that he did have a utility belt. Yeah, he pulled that out of his utility belt.
Must not have been that fancy.
They didn't really showcase it a lot. They didn't keep the camera on it for too long, so it was probably trash. But yeah, he took that out of his belt. So I'm guessing the reason why I thought that the bullet had pierced the suit. So I thought it actually like got to his body, but apparently I guess it just partially like. I won't say paralyzed, but like he couldn't move for a second because of the impact, right? But that adrenaline, I guess, just right. And I was saying to myself, bro, what's that doing to your heart? And you just got shot. Like I don't think that would work.
But a lot.
but for some reason, but I don't. Yeah, but I guess because it was so close, it was point blank range that kind of stunned him. Mm-hmm. But he had to like get it because a dude was gonna kill. Catwoman, and so he wasn't gonna let that happen. So
yeah, he had to pump himself.
Yeah, but that I really did thought. I thought the bullet pierced the suit. I was like, oh shit, you know. And I was like, oh wait a minute, adrenaline, you couldn't do. You still gotta get. What about the bullet? I'm still in my mind. I'm thinking the bullets is pierced the suit, right?
Yeah, no, he's totally okay. Bullets bounce off of him.
The suit anyway.
The suit is impenetrable, man. It's unstoppable once he has that thing on.
It's crazy. It's amazing to me, like his other gadgets, they're not up to par, but the suit, can you do much better than that suit? Really, man?
Don't ever change that suit.
Yeah, no.
Improve that suit to make it better. Because apparently you can take all
There's no improving all the gunfire in the effing world, man. Oh my God.
I'm assuming if someone tried to stab you, you'd be perfectly okay just bouncing right off of you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, they definitely didn't try too hard with making the suit realistic.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give it too much gripe because the rest of it was fantastic.
It's still a comic book movie. At the end of the day, it's still a comic book movie, but we need that. So if there's nothing else, I think we're gonna end it on that, man. Let's see.
We gave the full movie review. It was literally like 2:47 the movie, I think. because it's like a 3-hour film, 247.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Definitely appreciate you, man, joining me here.
I appreciate
having him here. Be sure to like the video, hit the like button, and subscribe because I will have more videos, more comic book related videos on the way, and more comic book movie news and stuff like that on the way. I've gotten the channel back up. I'm going to start posting and creating content again, so be on the lookout for that. So go ahead and like and subscribe, and if you want to comment, give us your thoughts on the film, and we may reply. I'll try to reply, but definitely post your comments and just be on the lookout because more content is on the way. This is Sir John Legion signing off.
Peace out.
Yeah.